Welcome back, Perks Recap Podcast. With me is Al once again. Al, it's been a little while.
Yeah, man. We talk like twice a week during the football season, and we've stayed on a pretty steady roll throughout the off season here with between our pod and Jordan's. And but we've had maybe our biggest stretch without talking for a little while, which is like 2 or 3 weeks,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've been just doing the Yankees pods in between.
which are
Um,
awesome, by the way. That's good stuff, man.
oh, thanks. But yeah, I'm ready for this one. This is our highly anticipated, I mentioned this so many times, and it's never been able to match up our schedules, and things have been happening the last couple of weeks where we've been trying to get this out there, but finally the days lined up, the days off, and time is lined up, and we can dive into the top 10 rock guitarists of all time. And this was, as most of these lists are, this was impossible.
Listen, the baseball stuff I love, and the hardest one I think for me in the baseball world was either the top 20 outfielders or the top 20 pitchers. One of
Yeah,
those two. Um, but this was harder than all of them because this is my life. I'm a guitar teacher. I've been professionally employed as a guitar teacher for 27 years. I'm 51. I started when I was 24 years old. I've been in band since I was a teenager, and I mean, I have, like I mentioned off air, I have 51 honorable mentions. So I have 61 guitar players, and that took restraint to not keep going. So this is, and and there are, I mean, legitimately, there are like every one of those guys could have been in my top 10.
Well, that's the
So
thing is
there,
I don't have as many as you. I have like 13, but if I just took out my top 10 and used 10 of my 13 that I have honorable mentions, it would be a respectable list still.
absolutely, I'm sure. And because there's so many great guitarists, there's legitimate answers for, that, there are a couple of things you could come up with, or I could come up with that would just be crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you like for instance, Rolling Stone did their top 250 guitar players, and they had Joni Mitchell in their top 10. That's insane.
Yeah.
Joni Mitchell's a wonderful songwriter, a very important person in the history of folk and music. But top 10 guitar player of all time is borderline insanity. So there are some things where I might be like, okay, well, I respect your opinion, but I disagree with that one. But I don't think you're going to come up with anything like that, and I doubt I did either. You know what I mean? So there's all kinds of legitimate answers here that we can have, and our top tens might be wildly different. My number 10 might be your number one. My number five might be not even be in your honorable mentions, but I can't wait to see where it all lands because it's all, I mean, music as you're not a musician, correct? Like,
No,
do you ever,
no.
okay. I didn't think so. I figured it would have come up by now, but music as well as any non-musician I've ever met, especially given what you've done on what reaction channel. Geez, I'm blanking on my vocabulary, which I'm going to be referencing a lot during these lists. You have like I always say, you're the most open-minded reactor out there because you will do anything regardless if some of my jazz fusion stuff is only going to get you 50, 80 views or something, but you do it anyway, and I love you for it. And so you've been exposed yourself to a lot of things other reaction people won't do, and it broadens your horizons as far as what's out there musically for sure,
Oh,
and
yeah. I've
I
learned
love it.
more on this channel than I even thought I would, and I thought I would learn a lot.
Yeah, it's awesome, and the range of stuff you've reacted to is just super cool, man. So I respect your opinion highly, and I can't wait to see where we all land here.
All right. Well, I want to dive right in then.
Let's do it. I'm excited.
Okay. I'm sure this list will piss off some people.
No doubt, no doubt.
Every list. I didn't even realize, but I put number 10 twice.
So does
I'm
that mean
gonna.
you have a top 11?
I technically have a top 11, but I'm gonna mention them both, but I'm going to highlight the actual number 10
Okay,
that I landed on. But I put current great blues guitarist Joe Bonamassa as my number 10.
right on, right on. and
who,
he is one of my honorable mentions.
yeah, he, oh my
He's a
goodness
beast.
gracious. He is a beast and just wow, wow, wow. I just did another video with him, with Uncle Sal. If you guys are on my reaction channel, you'll have seen that pop up with him and Beth Hart, who's a great blues singer. He
No
is
doubt.
strictly a blues guitarist, but he can play with the best of them. I mean, some of the greatest greatest I don't even know what to say, greatest solos that I've ever heard.
Yeah. No, he's a monster, and he's one of those child prodigies. You can find videos of him
Yeah,
jamming with,
13 years old.
yeah, jamming with BB King and things like that.
Yeah. But my actual number 10 that I ended up going to was Tommy Iommi.
Oh, Tony. Yes.
Tony. Why did I say Tommy? Tony
Yeah.
Iommi. Thank you.
Yeah, man. No, that's
From
awesome. And he was
Black Sabbath, of course.
100% one of the all-time riff masters. He is one of my honorable mentions, and I'm a huge, huge fan of Tony Iommi. He is a absolute monster. One of the most important, one of the most influential guitar players of all time.
Absolutely, absolutely. He shaped metal music. Really.
Yeah, he's there's some debate among people about who invented heavy metal, but to me, it begins and ends with Tony Iommi and Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
They are the clear precursors of metal and in fully into metal. He has some of the most iconic riffs of all time. Iron Man is one of the first things I ever learned on the guitar. When I picked up a guitar for the first time, it's what I wanted to play. I just had to learn a couple other things before I was good enough to do it. And I saw them in one of their reunion tours. I want to say it was 2011, but forgive me if my years are off. And boy, did not only did they not disappoint, but they blew my freaking mind. He was bet like some guitar players rest on their laurels and they're the same guitar player they were in 1975 as they were in 2011. Not Tony Iommi. That guy was great to begin with, and he's even better as the years go on. That's awesome. I wanted him on my list. I just couldn't get him in there, and I'm glad you did because he was one of the guys. I told you I have 51 honorable mentions, and I starred 13 of them, and he was one of the stars.
Okay. Perfect. 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 I mean, you just saw him. I don't know if you got a chance to see it.
Oh yes,
The Back to the Beginning Ozzy last show.
absolutely, and he's still tearing it up.
That's what I mean. They did like five or six Sabbath songs, and he was great.
Yeah, man.
Great.
Absolutely. He's a beast, man. He's an absolute beast. So good. And do you know the story about his finger?
His finger, no.
This is one of the greatest stories in rock and roll history for my taste. I'll lay it on your. I'm so glad you brought this up because I wouldn't have done this as an honorable mention, but since he made your list, so he and forgive me, some of the hardcore Sabbath fans might bitch at some of the details I have off here, but I'm in the ballpark and it's pretty cool and it's a good story. So hopefully I'm right on, but if not, I'll be close. So Sabbath was doing their thing, but in their early days before they were signed and before they were really anybody, and they get the record deal. He's working in a factory. He wants to skip his last day of work. The dad, who's got the blue collar English work ethic, says, "Nah, you got to go finish it out." While he's at work that day, he cuts off his fingertip on his left hand.
Oh,
It's
geez.
e- yeah, I think it's his second or third finger or both. I always forget what it is. Now, he just got a record deal because he's a great guitar player. And he just chopped off his finger. Now, it was like maybe like a quarter or half an inch, but it was enough to make a difference as a guitar player, no doubt. And so for his entire career, he's been playing with plastic or rubber, some sort of prosthetic cap. He used basically like a sewing thimble at first, and eventually as he got more successful he was able to get things made to fit him perfectly. And I don't know all the ins and out of what it's made of, but dude is one of the all-time greatest guitar players, number 10 on your list, one of my big honorable mentions, without a fingertip.
Wow. 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 Another guy with not all his fingers is Jerry Garcia.
Absolutely. Now that's on his right hand, that's his pick hand.
Yeah.
And Again, doesn't help when you play finger style, which he does, and play banjo, which he does. So another fascinating handicap overcome by one of the all time greats.
Yep, yep. Jerry Garcia was definitely considered for me. He's in my honorable mentions, and I wanted to get him there, but I just couldn't put him over the people that I have.
Right on, and it's understandable, man. It's understandable. There's so many great guitar players. This was,
Did you have Jerry
or
on?
yeah, but I don't want to bring it up yet.
Okay,
I'll
okay,
tell. I'll tell you when we get to that number.
okay. Sounds good. Perfect.
I love it. I love it. That was awesome, dude. I'm so glad you got Tony Iommi. So glad.
Okay, so
So,
what do you got for number 10?
well, okay. Now, like I said, I'm going to be referencing your reaction channel a lot during these lists, so our listeners can go check out things you've reacted to from some of these greats. And I believe this guy was number 2 most reacted to of the people that I had on my list. And I would not be surprised if he's higher on yours, but he was going to be on my list and he made number 10. You reacted to him 11 times, and that is the all time blues great, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Oh, wow. Yes, he is much higher on my. He's number 3.
Right on, it does not surprise me. Now, another thing I'm going to be referencing during this list is 2 top guitar players of all time lists.
Okay.
One is Rolling Stone. They did one in 2011. I'm not referencing that one. This is the one from 2023 where they expanded it from 100 to 250. All right.
Yep.
And then the other one is Guitar World, which is my favorite guitar magazine. There's a couple really good ones out there. Guitar World is my personal favorite. And I'm going to reference both of them for every guitar player. Stevie Ray Vaughan was number 20 in Rolling Stone and number 12 in Guitar World. And frankly, I was stunned he wasn't top 10 in one of them at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is in my honorable mentions, because I have so many, I categorized them and I can go through them fairly quickly. I separated one of the categories into blues guys, and for me, he took blues to the next level when he came along. There are some greats that I will mention when we get to our honorable mentions that are all timers. And Stevie Ray Vaughan came along and said, "Okay, I love and respect all you guys." And I'm gonna dust you. He took it to another level, man. Like he is
What?
so good.
Wait, whoa, whoa. Hold on, hold on. Holy shit. Holy
What?
shit. Breaking news. My son just told me Ozzy Osbourne just died.
Oh my God, Craig. Oh my God. And we just talked about Tony Iommi. Oh my God, I have to look this up. Oh, tell me it's fake news, please.
Ah.
Oh my God, it's not fake news. Oh, I can't believe it, Craig.
He was just holding on for that last concert, I bet.
That's it, man.
And once he got that done, that was it.
How amazing that he not only did it but was good,
Yeah,
really good.
pretty good. Yeah, not bad at all.
Like he's Ozzy. He was Ozzy. You know what I
Oh
mean?
my God. This is
Oh
crazy.
wow, 76 years old, man. He's oh my goodness. He's born 22 days before my mother.
Oh my God.
Wow. Oh man. I mean, an all time legend. I don't even know what to say, man. This guy. I mean, this guy
This
is
is
one of the
raw.
most.
This is pure shock. I can't believe this.
Yeah, my jaw's on the floor. Wow,
Oh,
Ozzy, man.
man, these people are just dropping off like flies.
We just and it's not quite the impact for me, but I just saw that yeah, 2 days ago. Malcolm Jamal Warner died. Theo
Yeah.
Huxtable, who I didn't know played bass, by the way.
Yeah, he drowned, I think.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He was like only a couple years older than us.
Yeah.
Wow, Ozzy, man. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm going on a Sabbath bender.
Yeah,
Holy
me too. Jeez.
man. All time legend. By the way, funny, just to just to throw a little levity in here, since one of the all time greats just passed. When my buddy and I went to see Sabbath, we decided to do a little bet. We set the over under for Ozzy curse words in between songs on stage at the show at 35. Okay, I thought that was a solid number. Honestly, I wasn't sure whether to take the over or the under. He passed it after the third song. Oh, Ozzy, man. And when you think
That
back,
last "Mama, I'm Coming Home" hits
oh
even harder now because people were like crying in the crowd, and they were saying that that's kind of like his goodbye.
man, and that like solo Ozzy. See, that was the thing. Like a lot of people leave their seminal band and they go off and they do their thing, but nobody. It's not what it was. You know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't live up to what it was. It's cool. It's a solo career, but it's not anything close to the original band. Not the case with Ozzy, man. Ozzy went from Sabbath to being one of the most relevant solo artists of all time. I mean, he had another great in his band who I won't mention in case he's on a list, but we'll bring him up eventually. The Blizzard of Oz era, the first 3-4 solo albums are left. Well, probably 5 or 6 actually, because all the way through the one with Mama Coming Home with Zach Wild. I mean, oh my goodness. Oh man, yeah, no, Ozzy. Oof, that's a
Oh
tough one, man.
man. He actually. I mean, his solo career. He kept coming back too. Even when we were reunited with Sabbath, he would go back to the solo for a little while too.
Yeah,
And
you're
and
right.
yeah, he had an album. I'm trying to look it up now. All right, it was 2007, so it was a while ago. But there was a song on there called "I Don't Want to Stop." That is in that is one of my favorite Ozzy songs I've ever heard.
Could you say that again? I got a phone call, and which song were you talking about?
I was talking about "I Don't Want to Stop," which is from a 2007 Ozzy solo album, and it's one of my favorite Ozzy songs I've ever heard.
Absolutely, and that's a great song. And he started doing those duets, like he did one with Elton John for crying out loud,
Yes, yes, yes. He worked with
and it was
yes.
cool.
I think I reacted to that.
I think actually, I'm pretty sure you did. Now that you said that, I think that might be even why I know about that song.
Oh yeah, I didn't know about it for sure. I titled it something like these two collabed. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I did it just 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. Yeah. All
That's
right.
awesome. Oh, it was that recent? No, because I knew about that song before. Then I didn't realize it was that recent. But yeah, no, that's awesome, man. I mean, Ozzy, man, his soul career. He had, am I, if I'm, yeah, 13 studio albums as a solo artist.
And how many Sabbath albums?
I want to say 5 to 7. I'm not sure though. Let me, what?
Yeah, they've man.
Because they came back a few times, so I lose track. Um, Holy mackerel! Oh, it's more than I thought. Even.
So between his solo and Sabbath, he's got well over 20 albums.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean, geez, man, wow. There's just too many. I can't add it up right now. It's a lot. But yeah, Black Sabbath was the first album. Paranoid, Masters of Reality, Volume 4, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, Sabotage, and I think he left after Technical Ecstasy, which was
Okay.
1976. I think that was his last one. Let me make sure I'm right about that. Yeah,
They kept making albums without him, but did he ever come back for an extra album here and there? Because I
he,
mean, I
I'm
know he
almost.
came back for a show here and there
I'm almost positive, but I'm not 100%. Um,
or a tour.
I mean, they definitely, they had several comeback tours. I saw one of them. Yeah. Oh, here it is. Oh, it lists. Oh, there's the. Okay, yeah. So they came back. Oh my goodness. Oh no, wait, never mind. The list. I can't. The list doesn't break out the Ozzy versus other people albums, so I'll never be able to figure it out
Okay,
in
no
time.
worries, no
It would
worries,
be
no worries.
too annoying for our listeners. Yeah. Um, but several comeback tours, several Ozfest tours. The one I saw must have been when they were on tour between, I said 2011, but the tour was 12 to 14. It was in that span.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Oh man, this is crazy that we were just talking about him. I just mentioned that final show, and he passed away. Oh my god.
Unbelievable. I mean, we could have been, we've done how many podcasts? We've done like over, I don't even hundreds at this point, I think. And, only two of them have you and I ever discussed music. And the second one we ever do that on, we have this happen. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and you knew we were going to eventually at some point mention Naomi, and we just had him on our list.
Unbelievable. I mean, that's just wild, man. Wild. Well, man, Ozzy, you live on forever, my man.
Yes, R.I.P. Ozzy. Let's somehow get back to the list here. You were on Stevie Ray Vaughan, so let's continue there. The Texas legend.
All right, my man. Back to it. So, okay. So I was talking about the top guitar player lists, and you have the Rolling Stone and Guitar World. He came in at 20 in on Rolling Stone and 12 on Guitar World, and the Rolling Stone list has some weird stuff, which I'll get into as we go. But it's Rolling Stone, and
Their lists
so
are always bogus. Their lists are ridiculously bad.
I wouldn't argue if you wanted to tell me the whole magazine's bogus, but they've had some interesting stuff over the years and some good articles, but they do some weird freaking things, man, with their things. I'll get into some specifics later with a couple some players I'll be bringing up, but as far as Stevie Ray goes, man, uh, there is you can make a case that he is the best, and I am that he is the best blues guitar player that's ever lived. And there are I want to highlight with every artist we get into. I want to highlight some great solos, and with some of them, the ones that got me into the guy. What got me into Stevie Ray Vaughan was when, and it was released after he died in 1990. It came out in 91, an album called "The Sky Is Crying," and two tracks from that album turned me into a Stevie Ray Vaughan fan. One is the title track, which is an Albert King song, who's one of my honorable mentions. And
Oh
there
yeah.
you reacted to a wonderful special that I believe aired originally on PBS, where Albert King and Stevie Ray Vaughan jammed together.
Oh yes, that was fantastic.
And it was like the master and the student, and within a couple years of that, Stevie Ray Vaughan became the master,
Right.
and it is a beautiful passing of the torch to watch. It's absolutely anybody that hasn't seen it that's a guitar fan, it is a must see. Um, so the Sky is Crying is one of my all time favorite songs, and Albert King's version is legendary, and Stevie Ray Vaughan's is too. Um, and then the other one, and it blew my freaking mind, is the instrumental Little Wing that he did.
Oh
The,
yes, I love Little Wing.
yeah, and that's a Jimi Hendrix cover. And you actually did a live Little Wing reaction.
Yep, yes I did.
Another really neat thing you did was you did three different live versions of Voodoo Child.
Oh, with different people, yeah. And his Voodoo Child, I think I never actually finished the Voodoo Child challenge. I called it, and I
Mm-hmm.
never like had declared a winner or anything to it. I just kept like playing people playing it, and
Yeah.
his was, I mean, he was playing behind his back and with his teeth and like all kinds of craziness.
he had he had all the tricks, man. He had all the tricks, and he was technically sound, and he delivered every aspect of playing the guitar. He really did.
Can you
There
imagine
was
how much better he would have, how much more we would have gotten if he didn't pass, if he didn't have, wasn't in that helicopter crash? We had
well,
at
that's
least another 10 to 15 years of him being great.
he had. Well, think about this. Tony Iommi's still great, and he's in his 70s, right? Stevie
Right.
Ray Vaughan died at 35 years old.
Yeah. We got 30 more years of him creating and making new music and shows
And
and
he had
everything
just
else.
gotten sober, Craig. He well, not just, but he had gotten sober. I think somewhere in the previous 3 to 5 years, he had gotten sober, and he was just he was just getting to his peak. He hadn't even peaked yet, which is insane.
Yep.
It's wild to even consider that. So, okay, couple other things while we're on Stevie Ray. I did a lot of quotes where I could find them, and I have two that I want to read about Stevie Ray. One is from Eric Clapton. It's a very short one, but it says a lot. He said Stevie Ray Vaughan is a force that shook the world,
Yep.
and that is freaking appropriate. BB King. BB King said, "When I play sort of like talking syllables. You know, you say a sentence here, a sentence there, and then I got to stop and think for something else to keep my conversation going. But his didn't seem to be that at all. It was fluent. He flowed when he played. He could get something going, and it was like a song. It would just go on, and ideas continuously flowed. And that is a perfect description of Stevie Ray Vaughan's solos.
Absolutely. Yeah, just one of the absolute best.
Yeah, man. And just two more things, real quick. Couple of my favorite solos outside of the ones I mentioned. The Texas Flood from Live at El Macambo, which, by the way, Live at El Macambo, just watch the whole DVD. It's one of the greatest. You could just go through and list every song practically as one of his best solos of all time.
Yep.
Um, the Tightrope from Austin City Limits is monstrous. There's a bunch of.
I think I did that one too.
I'm sure you did. Yep, I'm sure you did. And he has a song that's not one of his best known, but it is just ridiculous. And there's one, well, if you haven't seen this one, look it up. I don't think you reacted to this one. No, I don't have it on the list anyway. But it's called Scuttle Button. It is the fastest song he ever did. And there's a version live in Tokyo where it's maybe as fast as the a version of the fastest song that he ever did. And he's has a pipe in his mouth and a crazy outfit that looks like he's just left a Tom Petty video set or something. And and he's just ripping it up. So if you haven't seen that, check that one out, folks. And then the last thing I want to say about Stevie Ray, and if you have anything else to add, please. I will forever kick myself for passing up on a tour. Now, I have to give myself a little bit of slack because I was only 15 years old. But I think it might have been the last tour he ever did, or it was maybe the second to last, was called the Fire Meets the Fury Tour in 1989. He died in 90, and it was him and Jeff Beck.
Oh, really?
A buddy of mine invited me, and I declined because the ticket, I don't remember, because I didn't know who Jeff Beck was at that age, and I was just barely aware of Stevie Ray Vaughan. I wasn't playing guitar yet, so it hadn't caught me quite. And a year later, I was playing guitar and fell in love with the blues, and I've been kicking myself ever since.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I'm looking at all my Stevie Ray Vaughan reactions. The last one I reacted to was Tightrope.
Oh, nice,
I don't know if
nice.
it is live. I don't know if it was that particular one that you were mentioning, but I definitely did it.
They're all awesome anyway. So whichever one you did, I'm sure it's killer. But yeah. Oh, and I mentioned the Stevie Ray Vaughan and Albert King thing. You did Texas Flood.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's an all time classic. That's probably his best song, or his
That's a kill. That's
most well known song.
no doubt that, or Pride and Joy maybe. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's. I mean, it's a Stevie Ray Vaughan monster. And you also did another one with Albert King. Don't lie to me.
Yep. Oh yeah, Albert King. I mean, I'll mention right now. He didn't make it on my top 10, but he's my honorable mentions.
Me too. Me too. He is probably, in my heart, he's my favorite, even though I fully acknowledge that Stevie Ray Vaughan is better. That's why he made the list, and Albert didn't. But he was the guy I fell in love with first.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't doubt it one bit. I mean, Albert King. It's crazy that him and BB King are not related, but they have the same kind of style almost.
Well, and there's the three kings in blues. There's Albert, there's BB. Everybody knows those two. That's like a real guitar fan. And then there's Freddie King, who is
Yes.
another. He made my honorable mentions too. Freddie King has maybe my favorite blues song of all time, called "Going Down."
Oh yeah.
And Joe Bonamassa has made that song re-famous, actually, among
Yes.
blues aficionados. And he did a wonderful credit to that great song. In fact, if anybody's in the Lancaster, Pennsylvania area, I'm sitting. There's a good chance this Saturday I'll be sitting in with my buddy's band. I stink. I want to give him. I want to say his name, Jimmy something, in the Jilted Playboys. And I might be playing "Going Down" with them on Saturday night.
That'd be great.
Yeah, man. So yeah, the three kings all made my list for honorable mentions: Albert, Freddie, and BB.
Well, BB is my number 9.
Oh, I love it that we led into that perfectly, didn't we?
Yeah, I kind of set you up there. Sorry.
No, I love it. That's great. Perfect. Well done.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a pioneer.
Yeah, man.
He influenced so many people, and you gotta, even though we're doing technically the top 10 rock guitarists, you gotta give credit to these older blues artists because it was the start of rock, really, and it led into it. And if you're gonna give those credits, you have to give it to Mr. Riley B. King, who changed his name to BB King.
I love it.
Um, I mean, he invented the style of like soloing and something. Maybe you can educate me on the string bending
Oh yeah, yeah. So
and
that
vibrato, staccato picking, and he influenced the electric guitar for rock bands for generations.
he's an all timer. He is he as much as everything you just said, and then on top of it, he is by far, at least of that generation, he is by far the most well known. And he became an ambassador of sorts for the blues. And so not only is he one of the great players, but he is one of the people most responsible for blues staying popular generation after generation.
Yep. Oh, there's a site called All Music. Not really familiar with them, but they have a quote. It says BB King is the single most important electric guitarist of the last half of the 20th century.
Yeah, you can make that case for sure. There's a few guys that you could put in that discussion, and he is one of them, and maybe at the top of the list for sure. I mean, he is an all timer. His vibrato is legendary. Vibrato is when you hear a singer sing and their voice is going that thing, right?
Yeah.
That's the guitar equivalent of that. All you have to do, if anybody doesn't, the guitar players out there will know this. They'll be like, "Oh, Alan, we all know that." But there's plenty of non-guitar players out there listening to this, and if you want to see it, just pull up a video of BB King and watch when he hits a note, and it's usually as I talked about how he thinks of playing guitar as in phrases or sentences.
Right.
And when his punctuation at the end of all his sentences is vibrato, and you can watch it in his left hand, it's usually his first finger, but sometimes it could be any one of his fingers, and his hand flies like he's got one hand on one finger on one fret, and his hand is wildly flying back and forth and jiggling that note in the most it's arguably, and I don't even know if it's arguable, the most distinct vibrato of all time.
He did 200 shows a year well into his 70s.
Yeah, man. No, he was a legendary work ethic.
In
He was.
1956, he had 342 shows.
Oh, that's incredible. What year was that?
1956.
Woo! Man. Yeah, absolute beast. And just, I mean, even if he wasn't one of the top guitar players of all time, which he clearly and certainly is, he would deserve consideration for this list just by exposing people that never would have heard the blues to the blues because of his name, his legend, and his personality. He's the full package. Great singer, great guitar player, great song. The Thrill Is Gone is one of the greatest songs of all time in any genre. Um, and yeah, no, that's great. He made your list. I only put one pure blues guy on my list, and it was Stevie Ray. But BB certainly deserves a place in this discussion, no doubt about it.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, definitely glad I put him on, got him on the list. I knew he would be on at least the honorable mentions, but as I was putting it together, I just, started thinking about how important he was, and I'm like, I'm going to put him on there.
I love that you did. I love that because he's another one of my stars and in my honorable mentions, and I wanted to go off about him, and I'm glad you did. That's perfect. All right. Well, my number nine. Now, this guy was number 75 on Rolling Stone's top 250, but number seven on Guitar World, which is a much more accurate representation of how I feel about most of these guys. Um, and I'd be curious to see if he made your list and or honorable mentions. I'm kind of guessing not, but you never know here. Now, you reacted to his one of his two most well known bands. Uh, 8 times on your channel.
Oh, okay.
So you definitely are familiar with this guy. That is Deep Purple and Rainbow's Richie Blackmore.
Okay, no, I have Randy Rhoads on my. Yeah, okay. All right, so yeah, I do not have Richard Blackmore on my
Right
list.
on. And that's listen, there's going to be plenty, like I didn't have BB King, there's going to be plenty of great players that we neither of us have, and that's okay. But this guy, to me, this is one of my favorite guitar players of all time. I was going to go on a Deep Purple run with you until I saw how many times you'd reacted to them already. So I decided I like to do things you haven't done.
Right,
This is one of the greatest players of all time, one of the most influential players of all time, and he wrote arguably the most iconic riff in the history of rock and roll, which is "Smoke on the Water."
right, and that is the most iconic riff I think.
And when I said that I wanted to learn Iron Man first, but the first thing I did learn was "Smoke on the Water."
Oh yeah.
And now there is this is a wild side note about "Smoke on the Water." In 2000, this is how iconic this riff is. In 2007, 1,683 guitar players in Kansas City set a record. They broke a previous record of 1,323 in Vancouver in 1994 for all jamming together in the same location, Smoke on the Water.
Really?
1,683 guitar players, Craig.
That's awesome. That's great.
How cool is that, man? How cool is that? So Richie, man, Deep Purple is what he's most famous for, and justifiably so. Deep Purple is one of my favorite bands of all time, one of the greatest bands of all time in rock history. He left Deep Purple after I want to say 5, 7 albums, and started his own band, Rainbow. And Rainbow's freaking awesome too, man. You know who the first lead singer of Rainbow was? Ronnie James Dio.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, man. And you reacted to it's a Deep Purple song called Mistreated, which is one of the all time great Deep Purple songs. Originally sung, by the way, by David Coverdale, who is
White
better
Snake.
known, Exactamundo. Here I go again on my own. But the version you reacted to is an awesome live version by Rainbow with Dio as the lead singer.
Right, right. They right, like a lot of people do. They did some Deep Purple songs since he was in there.
Absolutely, because he wrote it and he's damn sure able to play it if he wants to. Now, one of the legends about Richie is he is a notorious curmudgeon. I mean, he is legendary for being a bit of a dick, and but people laugh about it. Like it's to the point where it's funny. You know what I mean? And his he has two quotes, one that has nothing to do with him being difficult, and one that does. The one quote, because he was an early proponent of the whammy bar, which he called the twang bar, and arguably the two most effective guys with the whammy bar in the '60s and early '70s were him and Jimi Hendrix. And his quote, though, because he stopped using it by the late '70s, early '80s, and his quote about it was, "I don't use the twang bar anymore. It became too popular."
Yeah, I totally believe that.
And that's the kind of guy he was, man. He would just do it because he would just do something because everybody else was doing it. He would say, "Nah, I'm not doing it anymore. Screw you."
That's fantastic.
And his quote about the his personality is, "You're no one until you're difficult." And you reacted to them 8 times, by the way, which I couldn't believe when I started looking it up. I was like, "Oh man, I can't believe you reacted to them 8 times," which I love. And you did some of their classics: "Highway Star," "Child in Time," "Woman from Tokyo," "The
Yep.
Mule,"
I mean, if
"Lazy."
you've got more Deep Purple for me though, I'll definitely do more
Oh,
because
there's a couple
they're
songs out there.
fantastic. They're fantastic.
Yeah, they're amazing, man. And okay, so well, that leads me to some of my favorite solos of all time by Richie, which and songs, which I love. Now in Deep Purple, they call the different eras Mach, like the MACH, Mach 1, Mach 2, Mach 3, and Mach 4. Um, Richie was in the first three, and the first one was the one that did Hush, which was the old school. It doesn't even sound like Deep Purple at all. It's kind of an old school song. Hush, hush, tell me what you need now. Hush, hush. It sounds like the '60s. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then Mach 2 was the one that everybody knows. That's the one that did Smoke on the Water, Highway Star, Woman from Tokyo, Lazy, Child in Time, all these things. All those are all time greats. My personal favorite is Mach 3. That is when they brought in David Coverdale. David Coverdale was a teenager singing in a bar in Wales. Okay. And it's almost like the old school pre internet version of how Journey found that Filipino guy to
Oh,
replace Steve Perry.
right, right, yes.
But they did it old school. They found him in a bar. Unbelievable. And David Coverdale went on to become one of the greatest singers in rock history.
Yes, he
And
did.
so he comes in as a teenager and becomes the lead singer, but they also brought in Glenn Hughes as the bass player. And Glenn Hughes is maybe my favorite singer in the history of rock and roll. He's not a household name, but when I send you some Deep Purple to do, we're going to make sure you're going to hear some Glenn Hughes. Now, my two favorite songs that people don't know as well, people know is Burn. Have you ever heard Burn?
No, I haven't.
Okay, that'll be the first one I have you react to then for sure. That is probably their most famous song from that era, but it's not as famous as any of the Mach 2 stuff. And then another one that I love dearly is one called You Fool No One, which has a killer solo. It has incredible vocals. Both Burn and You Fool No One have great harmonies and shared lead vocals between Coverdale and Glenn Hughes. Um, and then another one I want to mention is Rainbow's Gates of Babylon and Man on a Silver Mountain. Both of the Rainbow stuff is really cool. And and Stargazer. So Mach 2, Mach 3 of Deep Purple, and then the Rainbow stuff is just awesome. Just awesome. And then real quick, I have two quotes about Richie. One is from Yngwie Malmsteen. Are you familiar with Yngwie Malmsteen, Craig?
No. What is that?
Okay, Yngwie Malmsteen is one of the guys on my honorable mention list. He is one of the greatest shredders of all time, and one of the guys responsible for creating what they now call the neoclassical genre. Um, he is insane. Another guy that I'll have you react to at some point. He's one of the fastest guitar players of all time. He uses 50 Marshall stacks when he plays live. Now, the joke is, and the people that know, most of them aren't plugged in. But he does it for effect. And when Yngwie was asked one time about why he does that rig, he said that when the aliens come to Earth for the first time, I want the first thing they see to be my rig.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a little context for Yngwie. And Yngwie said about Richie Blackmore that he is the most technically gifted guitarist that ever walked on stage.
That's high praise.
Yeah, and that's coming from a guy who a lot of people would say is the most technically gifted guitar player that ever walked on stage. Another guy, Steve Vai, said that Blackmore was one of the first to combine strength and elegance. I just love that combination of things that he said in that quote.
Yeah, that is great. Yeah, absolutely. Um, man, I'm upset at myself that I did not put him on my list, and I should have. Because as we're going here, by the way, I'm remembering other names and I'm adding to my list, so my list just got bigger.
Oh,
And
I love it.
yeah, but I can't believe I didn't even put him on the honorable mentions, and he obviously deserves to be on there. That's just an oversight on my part.
Well, again, there's so many, Craig, that I'm not going to give you any crap for it. Believe me. I mean, I stopped myself at 51, and I could have gone to 100 without even thinking. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's just there's so many, so it's all good. But yeah, Richie's an all timer, man. And there's some wildly like Rolling Stone had him 75 for crying out loud. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Guitar World had him 7. So it's all over the place, man. But there he is, Richie Blackmore, my number 9.
Awesome. All right. Well, my number 8 it might be higher on your list. I've definitely seen him higher on lists, and kind of thought I'd have him higher too. But these things are really hard. So my number 8 is Jeff Beck.
Okay, now I thought this might come up. Now, I did not include Jeff Beck in my top 10 because I consider him more of a jazz guy than a rock guy. But he did do rock. So it is completely legit. I thought you might have him on there. If I included him, he would have been in my top 3.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, just being in the Yardbirds, first of all.
Yep. No, he definitely did blues and rock for sure. But he stopped playing rock. The last rock based album he did was in the early 70s, and he's been around for another 50 years. So I consider him a jazz guy, but it's 100% legit to have him on this list. Absolutely, and I'm glad you did because we get to talk about him now.
Yeah. He's been in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice, once with the Yardbirds and then as a solo artist, too.
Yes, yes, and that's because of his legend as a guitar player. I mean, he is unfreaking believable. I saw him live and it was an absolute mind bender. I mean, he is talk about guys that are great with whammy bar too, by the way. I didn't mention him when I was talking about early usage of the whammy. Um, unfreaking believable. He is. I mean, if you put that guy number one on any list that includes all guitar players ever, you're not going to get a huge argument from me, you know. And I always put jazz guys over rock guys because of technical proficiency. So putting him in the jazz list means I actually think even higher of him, if that makes sense.
Right. Rolling Stone said he's one of the most influential lead guitarists in rock. Um, let's see. He won the Grammy for Best Rock Instrumental 6 times.
Yeah, man, he's that's when he got into the what I would actually call jazz fusion. Um, he had a song called Highway Song that is a legendary jazz fusion song. And we're gonna have to do some Jeff Beck too on the channel. This doing this today is going to lead to me doing another like 70 reactions.
See, this is weird. This says he mostly was a blues rock or hard rock guitarist and dabbled in jazz fusion.
Yeah, that is from somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about. If you look at his discography,
Yeah, I didn't even know he had anything to do with jazz fusion. I honestly just thought he was a rock guitarist.
yeah, listen, he's a great rock guitarist. I will
And I've
not make
and
the
I've
case that he's
seen
not.
reacted to a couple things later in his career too. Like after he passed, I know I did at least one or two, and they were rock songs for sure, and they were stage shows later in his career, and they were definitely rock songs.
Well, that was him dipping back into his older catalog
Yeah, yeah. I did.
because
I really didn't have any idea he dabbled in the jazz fusion at all.
and it's not unusual because what happens when guys go the jazz fusion route is hardly anybody pays attention anymore. It become he was able to walk in both worlds because he had already established himself and was so revered and respected from the Yardbirds days and from the other stuff. The what was the one band with Carmen Peace Appice or however you say it. I'm trying to
Um,
find his freaking discography right now and I can't. Um, his biography is so long.
Boger in a piece. Beck Bogert in a
That's the one.
piece.
Yes, Carmen Appice. I forget how you say it, but yes. The Jeff Beck group
Yep.
was that they did 3 albums and even on there, like Becca Olay or however you say it has. I'm pretty sure that's the one that has his version of Green Sleeves, which is a classical song.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
But it also has Jailhouse Rock on it. Oh no, it's not that album. What album did he do Green Sleeves on? So anyway, point is the dude did it all. So you can have him on a rock list, you can have him on a jazz list, you can have him on every guitar player that ever lived list, and he deserves it. I just think of him because I'm so like into jazz and jazz fusion that's the stuff of his that I listen to the most, and that's where I put him. But he is one of my stars
Yeah. By
on
the
my.
way, I did Jeff Beck doing the song "Going Down"
No way, that's awesome! I forgot he has a cover of that. That's so
a
awesome,
year ago. I reacted to that.
man. I'm sure he tore that up.
Yep. Uh, I did. Yeah. Freeway Jam, Brush with the Blues. And then I did some Yardbirds with I'm a Man. Yeah, I did. I've done Jeff Beck 9 times if you include the Yardbird stuff.
That's so cool, man. Yeah. So, oh, and I finally found what Greensleeves is on. So while he's doing blues and some rock, he also did the song Greensleeves on the album Truth in 1968. So he was already heading in a direction that, like, by the time in 1979 he put out 75. I mean, he put out one of the seminal jazz fusion albums of all time. And it had the song Highway Song on it. If I can find the right Wikipedia page here, I will tell you the name of the album. Blow by Blow.
Okay.
Now, starting with Blow by Blow, he is playing almost exclusively instrumental music for years and years and years.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at it now.
So he's a
Instrumental.
fascinating guy. A fascinating guy. You remember reacting to Mahavishnu Orchestra, one of my jazz fusion bands? I don't know. I mean, we've done so much, and I don't blame you if you don't remember it off the top of your head.
I don't remember it off
But
the top of my head, but I'm sure I can. If I listen to it again, I would. Would remember.
at the time, we'd done maybe 10 or so, and you said it was easily your favorite one. It has a guitar player named John McLaughlin and a keyboard player named Jan Hammer.
Okay,
Jan
I
Hammer went
definitely
on to do
remember
the
McLaughlin.
Okay. So Jan Hammer went on to do the Miami Vice soundtrack,
That's
the
right.
song everybody knows from the theme, right? That thing, that's Jan Hammer. Now Jeff Beck had an album in 1977. Jeff Beck with the Jan Hammer group, and Jan Hammer is one of the greatest jazz fusion keyboard players of all time. That album is a monster. So yeah, he's just incredible, and whether you want to whatever category you want to put him in, he's a monster and one of the greatest of all time.
Yep, totally agree. Okay, let's get to your number 8.
All right, man. Now this is going to be a fun one, and I'll try not to run too long on this one. But I got a lot to say about this man. Now I would be surprised if he made your list, but I'm very curious to see. Now he came in number 22 on Rolling Stone and number 19 in Guitar World, and that is a guy who I think, when it's all said and done, and we have some distance from his era, may go down as one of the greatest composers of the entire 20th century, and also one of the most innovative and influential and best guitar players, and that is Mr. Frank Zappa.
Oh yeah, he was on my honorable mentions.
Right on, right on. Now he died at 52 years old, which is, that's not Stevie Ray Vaughan at 35, but definitely too soon. He was not done, not even close. Um, the dude supposedly had an IQ of 172.
Jeez.
And if you listen to him talk, you hear every bit of that. That dude, one of my favorite things to do once a year, without fail, I listen to. Are you familiar with the PMRC hearings from the 80s by any chance? Do you know what that is off the top of your head? Because not
No.
many people do. Okay. So back in the 80s, Tipper Gore, Al Gore's wife, and there was one Democrat and one Republican, and their wives led the charge for censoring uh, music albums. Okay. And what the end result of this ended up being when they started putting warning stickers. You remember when they started putting warning stickers
Oh
on
yeah.
like rap albums and heavy metal?
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
That came from the PMRC hearings. All right. Now, three people musicians went and talked to the panel of senators and wives. Okay. And it was super impressive. The first one was Dee Snider from Twisted Sister,
Yep.
who And if you've ever seen Dee Snider from the old days when he was in full Dee Snider bloom, he showed up like that at Congress.
That's
And
awesome.
very bright man, and he held his own really well and did a good job speaking. The other one was John Denver.
Oh geez. Okay.
John Denver told the Senate hearing that they were un-American and told them they were morons for interpreting his Rocky Mountain High as anything to do with marijuana because it was about walking outside in nature and feeling the high of being in nature. And and then Frank Zappa goes up and he is in a room full of senators. He is the smartest man in the room by 10 times. And he just dusts them all. It is one of my favorite things to watch. He just absolutely floors everybody. leaves them with their jaws on the floor. They have no response, nothing intelligent to say, and he just walks out with his head held high. It is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life.
Well, he directed feature length films too.
Yeah, there's one. There's a famous one called Greens. I think it's Green Snakes. Let me make sure I'm right about that. That is off the freaking wall. He was doing soundtracks to movies when he would before he was even Frank Zappa.
Yeah. You know how many albums he's had?
Oh my god, it's insane. What is the number? I didn't write it down. Is
It's over 60.
yes, and he died at 53 years old.
60 plus albums he released as a solo artist and with his band, The Mothers of Invention.
Man, he was so prolific. He was so his music is so intelligent and a mix. It's a crazy mix of intelligence, weird sense of humor, crazy ass sense of humor.
He's also
I
a
mean, he had
satirist.
absolutely he has and crazy like sexual humor. He has you want to laugh your freaking ass off. Check out a song called and it's not about Bobby Brown that was married to Whitney Houston. It came out years before Bobby Brown was a thing. It's called Bobby Brown Goes Down.
All right. Yeah.
It is.
I'll check it out.
It's one of the funniest songs you'll ever hear in your life. It is. Don't listen to it around anybody that doesn't want to hear something crazy because it is off the wall, sexually explicit. It is out there, man. But he is funny. He has a song that's I heard first. Fish used to cover it back in their early days, and it's one of my favorites now by Zappa. It's called "My Guitar Wants to Kill Your Mama."
I never heard that one. I've heard a lot of Fish too, but I didn't hear that one.
Yeah, it was early, and they didn't do it much past like 89 or 90, and nobody ever had you react to anything that old. But it is hilarious. It's awesome. Then he has songs like Inca Roads, which you only you reacted to two Frank Zappas that I could find, and one was Inca Roads, which is just an absolute masterpiece of composition
Oh yeah,
mixed in
I
with
like those.
killer
I
guitar.
really like the Zappa songs I reacted to.
And you also did his version of Whipping Post, the Allman Brothers song, which he just rips it up.
That's that's one of my favorite songs. Period, by anybody.
Me too. Me too. It's one of my all-time favorites. So let me get into some Zappa quotes here because you gotta when you hear these quotes, you just get a good sense of the intelligence of this man and the sense of humor. So here's some. I'm just gonna rip them off here. If you want to, I'll pause after each one if you want to jump in, and if you don't say anything, I'll just keep trucking. Um, Without deviation from the norm, progress is not possible.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
And boy, did he deviate from the norm. By the way, never did a drug in his life unless you consider cigarettes a drug.
Wow. Okay.
Wasn't a drinker, wasn't a drug guy. Although
Probably
if
too
you listen
smart
to
for
his,
that.
yeah, exactly, that's exactly right. And people that listen to him but don't know assume he did all kinds of drugs because of the content of his lyrics and stuff. But no, sir, no, sir. Here's a great one. He had some things to say about the country and politics in general sometimes too, and it was always smart. You might not agree, but it was always intelligent. Politics is the entertainment branch of the military industrial complex.
What?
That is one of my favorite quotes ever.
That is a that. Wow. That is also that's a very smart quote.
Incredible, right?
Yeah.
Incredible.
Jeez.
Here's a good one. There's more stupidity than hydrogen in the universe. And I looked it up after reading that quote. Hydrogen makes up 97% of the universe.
Yeah. But he's probably right though.
He is. I'm sure he absolutely, especially if you have an IQ of 172, people must look really stupid.
Yeah.
um, this comes from one of his songs. Don't eat the yellow snow.
Oh. Okay.
That's just plain common sense.
Right. I've been hearing that since I was a kid.
Yeah, that's right. That came from Frank Zappa. um, on education, he said, "If this one makes me laugh so much." He said, "If you want to get laid, go to college. If you want an education, go to the library."
Right. Yeah.
Oh man. And then two more from Frank, and then a couple about him. Uh, if you ended up with a boring, miserable life because you listened to your mom, your dad, your teacher, your priest, or some guy on TV telling you how to do your shit, then you deserve
Yep, totally
it.
agree there.
Love that man. So many roads to the wrong direction were paved with great intentions from people who care.
That's a good
And
one.
then another one about the U.S. The United States is a nation of laws, badly written and randomly enforced.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, love this guy. And then three quotes about him. One is from John Lennon. I admire Zappa a bit, but he's a fucking intellectual.
He is though.
He absolutely is. And he said, and Lennon said it like that's a bad thing. You know what
Right.
I mean? Steve Vai said, who, by the way, played in Zappa's band for about 3 or 4 years in the early 80s, said, the thing that people didn't realize about him was the guitar players, the Claptons, the Hendrixes, considered Frank one of the best guitar players out there. He was a total original on guitar.
Yeah, he was. I got that
And
just from the two songs I did.
yeah, there's nobody like him. Nobody like him. And the thing was, too, about Zappa is he cared more about composition than guitar, although he did care about guitar. I don't want to make it sound like he didn't, but he focused more on composition than guitar, probably, and he could have been even better. Like, it's insane to think how great, like, that he's on my number 8 of all time, and he could have been even better, which is it's just impossible to wrap my brain around. Um, Last quote is from Trey Anastasio from Fish, who you certainly reacted to Fish as much as maybe anybody but the Grateful Dead, I think. And he said that every boundary that was possible on the guitar was examined by him in ways that other people didn't.
Yeah, he was looking for for a new way to do things.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it says in his Wikipedia page too. He's very experimental.
Big time, big time. He did what fit the song, and then he pushed the boundaries to figure out what he could do even more to make it out there and great. And I just want to throw some examples for people out there of his great solos and compositions for people that aren't familiar that want to check him out. We already mentioned Inca Roads. That's an all-timer. Peaches and Regalia is a one of my all-time favorite songs by anybody. It was on his Hot Rats album in 1969. By the way, he had a band called Mothers of Invention from 65 to 70. That was
Yep.
his first big thing, and then he was solo for the rest of his career. Um, da, 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 da. I mentioned My Guitar Wants to Kill Your Mama. That's from an album called Weasels Ripped My Flesh in 1970. um, the song Muffin Man is a song where he just tears it up. And it's a pretty funny song, too, because he tells a whole story about an actual Muffin Man. Um, the album Joe's Garage is an epic. It's one of the all-time great concept albums. When I got turned on to it, when I first became a guitar teacher at 24 years old, I had a manager named Dave Malone who hired me, who once a year would make the entire store listen to it on repeat for an entire 10-hour shift.
Really,
Yes, and it
that's
was
awesome.
awesome. It was awesome and completely worth it. And then I'll just rip through a couple other of his great solos and songs. Black Napkins from '76 album Zoodle Lures. A song called Stevie's Spankin', where he trades licks. This song was named after Steve Vai when he recruited Steve Vai into his band when Steve Vai was very young, and they trade licks back and forth for about 12 minutes, and he hangs note for note with Steve Vai, and it is unbelievable. I'm going to have you react to that one at some point for sure.
Well, you mentioned Steve Vai a few times. I'll just mention that he is on my honorable mentions as well.
Yes, that's awesome, as he should be. I love Steve Vai. He is incredible. Um, and the last one I want to mention is if you want to hear Frank just as a guitar player, check out the entire "Shut Up and Play Your Guitar" album that he released in 1981. It is just him just tearing it up on instrumental song after instrumental song.
Wow, wow, wow. I got a lot to learn with Zappa, a lot to listen to.
Yeah, man, this is another guy that I'm gonna have to start doing reactions with you, man. I freaking love it. I love it. I mean, we're gonna be doing reactions till 2074. Oh yeah. So Zappa's my number 8, my man.
All right, that's a good one. Okay, so my number 7 has been knighted by the Queen,
Ooh.
and it is Sir Brian Harold May.
I love it. I love it. I love it. The mate, one of the 2 or 3 hardest guys for me to leave off this list, and he is one of my favorite guitar players. Very, very hard for me to leave off this list.
Yeah, I mean, talk about intelligent. He's a astrophysicist.
Yeah, man, he's maybe the only guy on the list who can make a claim to possibly be smarter than Zappa.
I mean, maybe not, but I mean, he's got to be. I mean, to be an astrophysicist, you got to be smart.
He could hang in the room for sure, and not many other people could.
I mean, just a part of so many of the most distinctive songs we've ever heard. Of course. Oh, he's got a thesis. Yeah, he could probably hang with Zappa. You know what the title of his thesis is?
No.
A survey of radial velocities in the zodiacal dust cloud.
Oh, that's right. I've heard that before, but I'm not smart enough to even remember that title.
So yeah, he obviously very smart. But Rolling Stone in 2023 put him at number 33 on the 250 list. But I saw
Yes,
another
absolutely.
one on I forgot, was it Hard Rock World or something like that. Had him number 1.
Yes, and I saw that actually, and I listen. You want to make a case for him as number 1? I'm not going to argue that hard. He was unbelievable. It
Oh, well,
is
by the way, he
unbelievable, I
was
should say.
knighted by King Charles, not the Queen. My mistake.
Oh, okay, okay.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, just he's so influential and so iconic with some of the things he's come up with, and can still go. He's 78 years old. They're still playing, and he still sounds great.
He's incredible. He built and invented his own guitar.
Yeah,
That the reason nobody sounds like Brian May is because nobody else has Brian May's guitar, and what's in his head and his fingers. More importantly, but he made his own pickups. He built his own guitar. I don't think there's anybody else on any of these lists that built their own guitar. Even, you know what I mean? Like that's just crazy. And he's one of the when I did my honorable mentions, I put categories of guys, and the smallest category of all of them was what I call beautiful orchestration. And that's just a category I made up because the orchestrated solo, there's one guy that's coming up in my top 10 that is also in that category in my mind. And I'll throw the other guy out there that I put in that category too now, and that's George Harrison from
right.
the
Yes,
Beatles.
I would put him in there too.
So now May was one of my stars, and that was one of my top honorable mentions. He was very hard to leave off the top 10. The iconic Bohemian Rhapsody solo is one of just an all timer.
Yep. I mean,
Uh,
he wrote "We Will Rock You." I
yeah,
want it all. Fat Bottom Girls, Hammer to Fall. He wrote all those.
yeah, man. Tie Your Mother Down, which early Queen is rocking, man. If you haven't heard the first Queen album or two, which a lot of people haven't, um, they were like a hard rock band for an album or two, man. Have you ever heard the song "Tie Your Mother Down"
I don't think
by any
so.
chance? Okay, that one we might have to react to at some point. My buddy growing up, Eric Benner, who's one of the best musicians I've ever known, um, turned me onto that song when I was 15 years old and tried to get me to play it a year later when I was 16 and struggling to learn the guitar. And I was not good enough to hang with Brian May until I've been playing for 5 years at least. And not even then, it was like I still can't play a lot of the stuff that dude did. Um, his harmonized guitar solos, where he would do his own harmonies in the studio, are just beautiful. Killer Queen is one of the most gorgeously done harmonized guitar solos in rock history, in
Yep.
my mind.
Yeah.
Absolutely freaking beautiful.
Yep. He also
Uh,
was an animal welfare activist.
Well, that makes me like him even more because I like animals.
campaigning against fox hunting and culling of badgers in the UK.
Oh, he's a Badger believer. I like it.
Yeah,
No,
so
that's awesome, man. Yeah, he's something else.
yeah, I'm glad we got a chance to talk about him.
Oh, that's great. I'm so glad he made your list because I was that was one of the biggest struggles. I had him on, and then there was one guy I forgot about, and I had to take him back off, and it killed me. So I'm really glad you got him in there, man.
Awesome. Okay, so
Whew.
who's your number seven?
All right. Well, this guy was number 34 on Rolling Stone's Top 250, number 46 on Guitar World's Top 100. And we talked about him earlier, and I said I didn't want to mention him yet, and that is Jerry Garcia.
Okay, yeah. Um, on my honorable mentions, obviously, I've done an absolute ton of Grateful Dead to the point where I had to tell people to stop giving me Grateful Dead uh, suggestions. Not because I wasn't enjoying them, it's just that I did not want to become a Grateful Dead reaction channel, and that's what was happening. I mean, literally, probably triple the amount of songs I've done for anybody else. I've done for Grateful Dead. I think I've done over 50.
Easily, because I wrote down for every other guitar player that I have on my top 10, I wrote down every reaction you did just to have as a reference and number them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with my note for him for your reactions, too many to count.
Yeah, because like you said, easily over 50, and that's might be on the low end. It might be more like 60, 65.
It wouldn't surprise me at all. And it's not only the Grateful Dead because you reacted to the Grateful Dead, the Jerry Garcia band. You reacted to Jerry as a pedal steel player on New Riders of the Purple Sage and Jefferson Starship. You reacted to Olden in the Way, and
Yeah,
I think that might be it. There might be some other even Jerry stuff that you reacted to that I missed. It's I wrote probably 50 plus reactions, which is exactly what you said, which is priceless.
right. The thing about Jerry is you wouldn't call him a shredder.
No,
He's more of like a plucky. I don't even know how to. I mean, he's very obviously diverse, and he can do a bunch of different things. And I tell you what, his pedal steel. It's a shame he gave it up because he was really good on it.
he was awesome. He was awesome. You know what's crazy too is not only was he great at the pedal steel, he was as good on the electric as he was on the acoustic, and that's not a common trait among a lot of these guys. Almost all of these guys. Richie Blackmore would be an exception. He all but stopped playing electric guitar. Richie Blackmore in the mid '90s or so, and has done a lot of like Renaissance music and stuff ever since. But most of these people are not as proficient on the acoustic as they are on the electric. Jerry is a massive exception. He was also a monster banjo player.
Oh, he also played with Merle Saunders.
Absolutely, Merle Saunders, who I saw at a local club back in the '90s here in front of about 200 people, and was awesome. Um, yeah, Jerry. The way I would describe Jerry is completely unique, or was completely unique. Not anymore because there are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of Grateful Dead cover bands with guys that have been since the early '80s or even late '70s in some cases have been trying to learn how to play like Jerry. So you can go to any bar USA and find a pretty good Grateful Dead cover band that has some guy that's our age or older that has been learning Jerry licks since '82.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but before that, he was completely unique. And the uniqueness, is he a shredder? No. Does that diminish him in any way? Not even close. It actually elevates him because he is a combination of bluegrass meets folk meets jazz. That's his main influence. Those three things.
Yep.
And it shows. You listen to a song like the 11, which is out there, man, and it's in a crazy time signature like a lot of the Dead stuff, and you hear his jazz influence. You listen to Uncle John's band, you hear his folk influence. You listen to geez, I'm blanking on the I have it somewhere. Friend of the Devil, did I just say?
Right. Right.
Friend of the
No.
Devil, and then
Yeah.
that's where you hear his bluegrass. I mean, it's like his influences are just—it's amazing to put. And then he has songs like Terrapin Station, which is a full-on 20-minute long song that's epic, orchestrated, all over the place. I mean, just something else. It's funny because I was doing a in the beginning of when I ended up not following through with this because it just didn't make sense to differentiate between great songs and great solos because so many of them were the same. But when I was looking up, trying to find the great songs that Jerry wrote, all you need to know is that Rolling Stone had an article titled Jerry Garcia's 50 Greatest Songs.
Right. So there you go.
There's nobody else on either of our lists that's going to have an article about their 50 greatest songs.
Yeah, but like if they did 50.
Exactly.
I think his best ability was the improvisation on stage.
Absolutely.
In sustaining, because a lot of their stuff, I mean, they take a 6 minute song on the in the studio, and it's a 15-minute song on stage, and a lot of it is just improv.
Absolutely, my man. Absolutely. That's it. They listen, they alone invented, and people want to give the Allman Brothers credit, and I love the Allman Brothers, and they did contribute to the jam band culture, but not as early as the Dead, and not as consistently as the Dead. The Dead are jam band.
Yeah,
The reason
he believed improvisation took stress away from his playing and allowed him to make spur of the moment decisions.
listen, they used to drop an insane amount of LSD and go on stage. I mean, you like a lot of those videos. If you reacted, especially in the '70s, you reacted to some of their videos from the '70s.
Oh yeah.
Most of the time, he's tripping his balls off. It's unbelievable how good he was under those circumstances. I mean, I'm a guitar player. I experimented with hallucinogens when I was a young man. One of the worst band practices I ever had in my life was when we were all on LSD. We couldn't do anything. They made magic on it. It's unbelievable.
Now, do you think do you
Unbelievable.
think they would have been as good or better without it? I don't know. Some bands are better with it.
Well, Jerry got clean several times over the years, and it's debatable. A lot of people consider their best era to be like 76, 77, 78 in there. Um, some people like the Pigpen era in the late 60s, early 70s. Some people like the Tower of Power era, or what do they call it? When they had the giant sound
Oh,
system,
the
the Wall of
wall of
Sound.
sound.
74. Some people like that. Some people like when Jerry got clean in the late 80s, early 90s when they had Bruce Hornsby and Vince Welnick and these different keyboard players playing with them.
Oh, he was also in Legion of Mary. That was another band of his.
Yeah. Oh, there's another fun one too that doesn't get mentioned a lot. He did 2 albums with a guy named Howard Wales that were jazz fusion albums. You know my love for jazz fusion. It's all instrumental. The one album is called Hooterroll.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
And it's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. Yeah, I got some quotes here real quick and fire away anything. Again, I'll pause after him if you have anything you want to add in. Um, apparently Jerry and I were of like mind in a lot of ways because I've played in almost nothing but jam bands my entire musical career. So I was definitely influenced by Jerry. I don't play anything like Jerry. I'm not one of these guys that tried to be Jerry. But and I respect these guys that are wonderful Dead cover band guys. But that's not me. You've heard me play, and I don't sound anything like Jerry Garcia. But but I was definitely influenced by his mindset about improv. And but this doesn't really have to do with that. It's more of another thing I can relate to him because he references one of my favorite movies of all time. My general fascination with the bizarre can definitely be traced to this movie. And he's talking about Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
I've never seen that.
If you had any love for Abbott and Costello as a kid or old horror movies, it combines the best of both worlds, and a lot of people consider it one of the greatest movies of that era of any genre.
Wow.
So there's one. What else did I have here? Okay, so another Jerry quote. You tell me if you uh, ever read this quote because for some reason it was tickling my brain. I could be off, but this is a great Jerry quote. Deadheads are kind of like people who like licorice. Not everybody likes licorice, but people who like licorice really like licorice.
Okay, it sounds like Al has been disconnected,
Uh oh.
and hopefully he'll
Oh
join us
no.
again soon. He was in the middle of um, Jerry Garcia quotes. I'm just going to text him off.
I'm back, I think. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back. You're back. You're back. Cool.
I got a disconnected message. So, what was the last thing you heard from me?
You were doing your Jerry Garcia quotes.
Okay, so tell me if you've heard this one before. For some reason, it tickled my brain that you might have actually read this, but I think I'm making that up. So tell me if you know this one already. Deadheads are kind of like people who like licorice. Not everybody likes licorice, but people who like licorice really like licorice.
I did not know that one. I did not read it. That's great.
I thought that was awesome. And then he had one more from Jerry, and then two about him. Um, this is about when he went into the. Did you know he was in the army?
Yes. Yes.
Which might be the most surprising thing to find out about Jerry Garcia. Now, so it says, well, when you're 17, you can handle the army. You don't mind, at least for as long as I was in, which was about 9 to 10 months. Then I got kicked out. I had a pathological anti-authoritarianism. And then two quotes about him. One is from Branford Marsalis, who's one of the greatest sax players of all time, and was on a great version of Eyes of the World from one of their live albums. Maybe it was Live Without a Net. I can't quite remember, but it's a great version of Eyes of the World. And he said, "There is not a sentence in the world that could respectfully do justice to the life and music of Jerry Garcia."
That's accurate.
Yeah,
That's perfect.
I thought that was great. And how well do you know the band Primus, if at all, Craig?
Heard of them. I don't really know them though.
Okay. One of the weirdest bands of all time, and I love them. They have one of the greatest bass players in rock history in Les Claypool, and their guitar player is nuts, and I love him, and he's weird as all get out. And this quote makes a lot of sense when you hear it. My two biggest influences on guitar were Frank Zappa and Jerry Garcia.
Oh, so that would make perfect sense that you love them.
One of these days I'll have, yeah, exactly. And one of these days I'll have you react to a Primus song, and you'll understand even better when you hear it.
Fantastic. Sign me
So
up.
yeah, that's Jerry, man, and Jerry's in the the all time king of jam bands.
Yeah, I can't believe I couldn't get them on here on my
Yeah, tough.
list.
I mean, geez, and again, just so many greats, so it's understandable.
Yeah, no disrespect to Jerry Garcia or the Allman Brothers or the Grateful Dead. All right,
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, that was my number seven. Your number six.
my number six now is another one of these. People that have a rabid fan base that always want the lists whenever this guy is not near the top or at the top. People get annoyed and mad, so they're probably not going to be happy with my ranking of him. But at least he made the list, and that is EVH, Eddie Van Halen.
Ah, okay. He's my number three, and is that our first crossover?
No, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Oh, Stevie Ray Vaughan. That's right. Okay. So our second crossover at number six. Yeah, he was my number three.
Yeah, he's right there. His Eruption solo, that on its own could put him on the list.
It changed the world.
Yeah,
It
that
really did. It was on their 78 self-titled debut album, and it changed everything forever.
yeah. Obviously, I reacted to that. I know Van Halen. I, to be honest, no, and again, no disrespect to him, I never connected with Van Halen like the way people did.
Oh,
Like a
Craig,
lot of their fans, for some reason, they just never got me like that. I don't know what it is. Maybe it was more of a David Lee Roth thing. I don't know what it was, but for whatever reason, I liked them. I loved him, but I did not like the band all that much. Like they had a few songs, of course, the hits and stuff. But as I dove deeper to their back catalog or catalog that most people don't know, or the non hits, nothing stuck with me. Nothing.
well, here's is that. Oh, geez, drop the phone. So here's what's funny about that. He, I had to put him at number three because he is one of the most influential guitar players of all time, and there's no debating it.
Oh yeah,
Rolling
and like I
Stone.
said, his solos are incredible, in especially Eruption. But all of them, it's not him at all. That gives me a disconnect with them. I don't really know what it is, but it's definitely not him.
Well, see, for me, it is him. It's not. It's him. It's I. He is my least favorite guitar player that I put in my top 10, and people will skewer me for that, and I understand. It's not that I don't like him. It's just that he does not speak to me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, he is awesome, and he is one. And I mean, I have glowing stuff written down about him all over the place. And do I like him? Yeah, I freaking like him. But there are a lot. But there are 30 other guitar players outside of my top 10 that I'm going to put on before Van Halen. And not because of David Lee Roth or anybody else in the band, because of the whole package. And the biggest part of that package is Eddie, no matter what singer they had. Um, and he's awesome. He's incredible. He just never spoke to me a lot, and that's okay. But even having said that, I can acknowledge his unbelievable greatness. I mean, Eruption changed the guitar playing world for all time, forever. It changed everything. Every guitar player in the '80s that wasn't around before Van Halen was influenced by Van Halen. The entire '80s is splattered with Eddie. I mean, it is unbelievable what he did. There are guys that are more influential than him, but they came before him. But nobody after him has been more influential. Nobody. He's unbelievable. But do I pop in Van Halen almost ever? No. You know, there's some songs I love. I love Hot for Teacher. It's incredible. Eruption, it's great.
Panama. I love Panama.
Panama. I don't like the synth Van Halen a whole lot. Like it was like the whole world was waiting to see what Eddie Van Halen was going to do between their previous album and 1984, and what he did was learn to play the synth, which, eh, not for me.
Yeah,
But
I'm not a big fan either. Like Jump, I used to love as a kid, but not anymore.
yeah, the synth stuff it just it didn't hold up. You know what I mean for me. But there's still some greatness inside of those songs. I'm going to sound like an Eddie Van Halen hater at times here, and I'm not. I love the if I'm going to listen to Van Halen, it's going to be the first 3 or 4 albums up till Diver Down, which was 1982. Mean Street is an incredible song. It's probably my favorite Van Halen song from Fair Warning in 1981. I love Running with the Devil. Especially ever since I saw Adam Sandler play Air Broom to it in Little Nicky.
Yeah.
um, I have a list of influential guitar solos. He's known for Eruption for sure. But have you ever heard Cathedral, which was on Diver Down in '82, which is basically like a clean version of Eruption, where he does all these volume swells with delay, and it's just a beautiful minute and a half of just gorgeous guitar solo.
No.
It's only like it's a minute and a half long. It's a completely instrumental track, and it's unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Um, I wrote down a list. Did I wait? Where is it? Yeah, I wrote down a list of guitar players he influenced, and I stopped at 7 or 8 because it was just going to be too long. But this list is a who's who of '80s guitar players and beyond: Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, Yngwie Malmsteen, Nuno Bettencourt. If you don't know that name, he's from Extreme,
Oh
and
yeah, I know him.
Zach Wilde. Richie Kotzen, who, if you don't know Richie Kotzen, he was the replacement guy for CC DeVille and Poison back in the day. He has one of the greatest rock bands of the post 2000 era called the Winery Dogs, which is another one I've thought about having you react to, and just haven't gotten to yet. All those guys are Eddie Van Halen influenced big time, and have talked about it at length in various interviews over the years. Um, You've reacted to 4 things I could find: 5150 Live, Feelin' Live, Human Beings, and Eruption Live. All killer stuff. Couple quotes about him. Yngwie Malmsteen again, who I keep bringing up. This is his reaction when he heard Van Halen's first album. It was like somebody dropped a fucking bomb.
Yeah. Yeah.
Steve Vai. Oh, sorry, Craig. Please continue. Sorry.
No, I was just saying that they. I I I find myself wanting to like them more,
Me too.
and like thinking to myself, I should like them more, but I don't.
Every time I go back, I add and listen, try and listen again. I add one song to my slightly expanding like Mean Street was the one that over the last year I went back and I was like, oh, this is a killer. Why don't I like this song more? You know, like, or why didn't it grab me the first time? That's on one of my playlists now. So I have a Van Halen playlist of about 10 songs that I love. I absolutely love, but I'm not a devotee. I'm not one of these guys that's going to stump for Eddie to be higher on a list if I think he's too low. Even though I put him at number 3 because I have the utmost respect, the
Yes,
utmost.
no doubt about it. Yes.
Now, I want to mention what, oh, by the way, Rolling Stone had him at number 4, Guitar World number 1.
Yeah, not surprised at all.
Not absolutely. Now, here's a fun project that I never knew about before, and it ties two guys in your top 10 together. And this is another one we might have to, I might have to have you react to at some point because I didn't know this was a thing. In 1983, Brian May did a solo project called the Starfleet Project, guessing he was a Star Trek fan. Now,
Okay.
guess who the other guitar player on the album is? Eddie freaking Van Halen.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, dude. And there's 3 songs on the whole album. 2 of them are, one is like 9 minutes and the other one is 12 minutes, called Let Me Out and Blues Breaker. And they're basically just blues jams where they trade solos back and forth for 5-7 minutes.
That's
It's
great.
insane. I had never heard that before, and it's in my all time. It's in my playlist now forever.
Wow. Wow, wow. Okay.
Yeah, man. So I'm sure some people will hear what we said there and want to give us crap, but the reverence is there. It's just not that either one of us is Van Halen on our our favorite band list. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yep. Exactly right. All right.
That's funny because I thought I was the one that was going to be talking about that, and you did it right away, which is priceless. Love it,
Yeah,
man.
I don't know what it is, but regardless, let's move on to your number 6.
All right, all right. Well, we talked about the beautiful orchestration category, and this is the guy that bumped Brian May off the list. And for me, it's one of my all-time favorite bands. You have reacted to them 7 times, and I don't think they're one of your favorite bands. I'm fairly sure about that, and that is Pink Floyd's David Gilmour.
You are correct, sir. I do
I
have
thought I remembered you saying that to
Gilmore in
me.
my honorable mentions because I can't not have him on there, but I also can't have him on the top 10 because Pink Floyd, it's to the point now where they irritate me.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. That's so great.
Them and the
Oh,
Who, both of them irritate me.
I love it. I love it. That's so awesome. And I get it. I mean, Floyd is you either love Floyd or you don't. And that is, I will never give anybody crap for their personal taste. Um,
And again, it's another one of those things where I gave them a chance. I felt like I should like them more, and I'm listening to this and I'm going, this I don't connect to any of this. This does not get me at all.
I love it, man. I love
And
it.
I tried,
Yeah.
and I even I tried, and I found things during when I was doing reactions to them. I found things that I did like about them, and like could connect to a little bit, at least grab onto, whether that be the guitar or the bass or something. But then I go back and listen, and it's like, yeah, I connected to this bass in this song or whatever, but it's not enough to want me want to to want to hear it again.
Yeah, man. Hey, listen, I get it. I mean, we just said I just said the same thing about Van Halen, so I understand. And Van Halen's indisputably an awesome band. Just I don't connect, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, yeah. Pink Floyd, obviously, a lot of people regard them as the greatest band ever, or at least top 2 or 3, and I can't do it. I just can't connect to them. Nothing.
I definitely get it, my man. Definitely get it. Well, so here's some stuff about Gilmore. So Rolling Stone had him 14, Guitar World had him 6. Um, in my mind, it's him and Brian May for the all-time kings of the orchestrated solo. And if you listen to his work on the Animals album, which you reacted to one song from that album called Dogs,
Hmm.
uh, and To me, that is one of the greatest guitar solos in rock and roll history. It is incredible, and there are the song is insanely long, and this is where Pink Floyd non fans get driven nuts because you got to sift through, you know, uh, 3 minutes of ambiance to get to the next guitar solo. And I understand that a lot of people can't do that. I really do, but that is one of the most beautiful guitar solos of all time, harmonized like the Brian May thing. Um, his his the Comfortably Numb solo is iconic, and it should be. His live versions take it to a whole nother level. The Pulse and Delicate Sound of Thunder,
I,
Comfortably Numb, are
I,
insane.
yeah, I did a lot of Pulse stuff.
Yeah, his solos on some of the Paul. Yeah, you did. It's funny because you did a lot of post Roger Waters Pink Floyd, which drives a lot of Pink Floyd fans nuts, not just you.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. What was I going to say too? Um, I lost it. Go ahead, keep going. Maybe I'll remember.
yeah, cut me off if you think of it. What did I want to say here? Okay, so just some of his best solos and some of the stuff that a lot of people don't know because there's the obvious greats like Comfortably Numb, Another Brick in the Wall, Mother, Money, Time, Sorrow, Shine On You Crazy Diamond. These are all things that anybody that likes Pink Floyd has heard a billion times. And for good reason. They're all great and some of my favorite guitar solos ever. The thing one thing about David Gilmour that is very unique is you can sing his solos note for note. If you are a Pink Floyd fan, people are singing along his guitar solos at live shows. They are lyrical. Um, some of the best solos that people don't know that aren't hardcore fans. I already mentioned Dogs. That's my number one. And all the solos on that Animals album are incredible. The other two songs, Pigs and Dogs and Sheep. Uh, Fat Old Son. The original Fat Old Son has a pretty good solo, but the one that is really of note is his solo band's DVD live in Gdansk. I think you say it, Gdansk, which I think is in Sweden or Switzerland, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yep,
Um,
sounds like it.
yeah, it's a lot of syllables, and it's an unbelievable solo. It just keeps going and going, and it's incredible. Another one, and if I was going to play you a Pink Floyd song that I think you might like, it would be one of uh, two things. One would be Echoes, which I think probably would drive you. You would like parts of it, I'm convinced, but it would still drive you nuts because it's 20 minutes long, and some of it is very ambient and spacey, like the Pink Floyd that drives a lot of people nuts. Um, But the other one
That's
is
one of the reasons too. To
yeah,
me,
that
that's one of the big reasons.
totally. I understand that. And that's most people that don't like Pink Floyd, that's the number one reason. Like, okay, I like 6 minutes of this 17-minute song.
Right.
um, The other one, though, is a straight up blues song that most people don't know. There was an album of theirs called Relics that was basically a bunch of B-sides and never released songs that came out in the early 70s. And it's a blues song called Biding My Time, and David Gilmour just tears it up blues style. And if there was one song I was going to play to try and win you over to the dark side, it would probably be that because it's a no fat song. It's only like 4 minutes, 4.5, 5 minutes long at the most, and it's just him wailing to the blues. And anybody that it isn't familiar with that is a Floyd fan, check it out. It's really cool. Um, Here's some quotes about Gilmour. Dave Mustaine from Megadeth, who you wouldn't necessarily think one of the fastest metal guitar bands of all time would be a Gilmour aficionado, but he is. And Dave Mustaine, by the way, I don't know if you know anything about Dave Mustaine, but he is one of the biggest dicks in rock and roll history. I mean, he hates everything. All right, and um, and he loves David Gilmour. And his quote about Gilmour is, "David Gilmour can do more with one note than most other guitar players can do with the entire fretboard."
Yeah, I believe it. I'm not disputing the talent. I'm not disputing the fans. Um, you know what I think too. A lot of it is. I mean, you kind of hate to say it like this. It caters to like the a drug community, like the LSD or whatever. If you're on that and you listen to Pink Floyd, like that was the go-to band, really.
No doubt, no doubt. And
And
they never encouraged that. That's on other people.
right. But I remember, you know, being at places, people loving Pink Floyd, and there was the big druggie in the corner who was just tripping balls listening to Pink Floyd.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. Well, and you know what? And even more so, you could say that about the Grateful Dead.
Yep. Yeah,
By the way, you want
that
to hear the
same
greatest
person
sales
like
pitch?
that same person like the Grateful Dead a lot too.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Do you want to hear the greatest sales pitch I've ever heard in my life that I heard at a Grateful Dead show when I was 16 years old? Quick side note.
Go ahead.
So this guy was selling liquid LSD, and I was in sales. I sold real estate from 18 to 23, and I'm 51 years old. I've never heard a sales pitch that'll top this, and I never will. I'm convinced now. I've lived enough. I asked the guy what the deal was. He said, "Son, for $10 you can meet Jesus. 15 you can beat him in poker."
That is the greatest. Yeah, that is the greatest sales pitch I ever heard.
I've never, and nothing's ever going to top it, man. I was spoiled at 16 forever. Oh, I love it. So,
That
all
is
right,
amazing.
amazing, man. I mean, he's just something else. So all right, now back to one other quote about Gilmore, uh, and this is from Brian May, and he says, "A beautiful player. I love him and have an enormous respect for him. He's always been a favorite of mine. A beautiful player." I love that.
Yep.
And then uh Gilmore talking about his his emotions and being able to his lack of being able to articulate them. uh I think a guitar solo is how my emotion is most freely released, because verbal articulation is not my strongest communication strength. My wife thinks that I should do interviews by listening to the questions and playing the answer on the guitar. I thought that was awesome. And then the last thing comes from another one of my favorites, Derek Trucks, and he goes off about. I didn't realize what a big fan of Gilmore Derek Trucks was. This is just unbelievable. He says, "When he plays, it takes you back and makes you feel like you're in a certain place. So whenever I hear him, it takes me back to spending time with my uncle when I was growing up. He was such a massive Pink Floyd fan, specifically David Gilmour's guitar playing. Anytime I hear that tone, those are the things I feel and think about. It's always been there for me with all these sounds that felt so magical. I can't think of a single time I've seen or heard David play and not enjoyed it. I'm always intrigued by what he's doing. Pretty immediately when it's him plugged in, his sound is very singular. I can't think of anyone else you could mistake him for, even though so many people have been influenced by him. There's a whole wave of players that got into the soundscapey thing because of Pink Floyd, but you can't duplicate that shit. I don't know if it's in his hands or the way he hears things or the way he attacks his instrument or dials in his gear. Whatever it is, for some reason, a few people have it and most don't."
And Derek Trucks is also on my list. Not on my list. He's on my honorable mentions.
Right on. Very nice. Trucks is incredible.
I've seen him a bunch of
Um,
times now. I've seen him 2 years in a row recently with Tedeschi, and I also saw him with the Allman Brothers when he was with them when he was younger.
Very nice. Yeah, no, yeah, he's something else, man. He is one of the greatest of all time. So yeah, that's David Gilmour, man.
All right, I should like him more. I apologize to the Pink Floyd fans and the Van Halen fans. One of the reasons I like who I like is usually for the most part within the first like 30 seconds to a minute of a song, I immediately like it, and I already know that I'm going to like the song.
Yeah.
And if I don't get that, chances are I'll never like it.
And Pink Floyd isn't their songs. A lot of them don't even kick in until like 3.5 minutes in.
Right. I don't know what it is. Even Van Halen stuff too.
Yeah, and they have no problem with a fast start, so it's definitely not that Pink Floyd issue. But no, it's yeah, I totally get it with the Van. We're on the same page with Van Halen for sure.
Mm.
Respect, just not ever going to be one of my favorite
Right.
bands.
I mean, yeah, EVH is on my list, and Gilmore really I didn't put on just because of almost like kind of for spite.
so funny, and I
but
appreciate it and totally respect
if I'm being reasonable and I'm being honest, he should be on everybody's top 10 list, including mine. You can vary on where you want to put him, but he probably should be there. I just like other guys that I want to talk about more, and I figured I'm just, I don't have a whole lot to say about him, and I want to talk about other people.
it. That's completely reasonable, my man. And I will say, while he is hugely respected and definitely influential, not nearly as influential as Van Halen because his style is not as easy to. And listen, that's going to sound terrible. Van Halen's a monster, and it's not easy to play like Eddie Van Halen. But like the slow, lyrical, crazy bendy meets tiny little whammy bar movements of David Gilmour is nearly impossible to replicate. Van Halen influenced thousands of guitar players, and that's why he's number 3 on my list, even though not one of my 10 favorites. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Yep. Okay. So that was your number.
6.
All right. We we might want to either pick it up or even do a part two because we're almost 2 hours in already. And we're now only halfway through our list.
Well, we're going to have a couple doubles coming up, so I think we might be all right. But if we need to, I just have to stop by 5:15, so I think we could probably get it done in an hour 10.
Okay. Um, okay. So my number five has been number one before I've seen, number two, number three. He's usually in everybody's top 10, and it's no doubt he belongs there. I like it again, like a few more people a little better, but Jimmy Page is my number five.
Love it, totally respect it. One of my honorable mentions.
Really? Didn't you make it? Oh, nice, nice.
Yep. Listen. I like Led Zeppelin was a huge band for me when I was a teenager. I don't listen to them much as an adult. They kind of moved away from me, kind of like the Doors and a few other bands that I liked a lot as a teen. Still respect the hell out of them, and I love some of their songs. It's not like Van Halen for me. Like I really do like Led Zeppelin a lot,
Yeah, me
but
too. Same thing. Same thing. Yep.
the thing about Page is and he's great. Don't get me wrong here. Again, I'm going to piss off some people when I say this, but I have plenty of my guitar teaching friends that will back me up on this. Not the greatest live guitarist, and to me,
Okay.
that takes him down a few notches.
Okay. Yeah. Um,
He's a wizard in the studio, and he's a great live guitar player. Just not one of the top 10 for me.
he had a lot of other bands I didn't realize. After John Bonham passed away, he played with XYZ, who I never even heard of.
Yeah, I've heard of XYZ for sure. Yep.
The Firm,
Yep. Yep.
the Honey Drippers, and
That
then
I don't know.
Coverdale and Page.
Yeah,
These,
Coverdale and Page. Yes. Yeah, because Coverdale was always compared to Robert Plant. Always. And it was
well,
kind of funny that Jimmy Page joined forces with him. It was almost an fu to Page or to Plant.
yep. And then it was and then Page and Plant. They went on their own too. Wow. So yeah, he's ranked third on the 100 greatest guitarists of all time on the 2000 Rolling Stone list. Uh, Number four in 2007 for the top 50 guitarists of all time in Classic Rock's 100. Yeah, Hall of Fame member, once with the Yardbirds and once with Led Zeppelin, two-time Hall of Famer.
An absolute monster. And now that I busted on his live playing, let me just say this: absolutely deserving of anybody's top 10. Just didn't make mine. He's one of my starred honorable mentions and an absolute legend, a studio wizard. I mean, this guy basically took what the Beatles were doing with multi-tracking and took it to the next level. There are Led Zeppelin songs that have 4, 6, 8 Jimmy Page tracks on them.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable what he did in the studio. And he was I need to clarify because while I'm saying he's not one of the best live guitar players of all time, he was still great live. There are plenty of examples of him playing great live. Um,
right.
again, also as good on the acoustic as the electric. and all you have to do is listen to the album Houses of the Holy to know that, with songs like Going to California. What's the damn? I can
So
play this
his
song.
layering has got to be uh, pretty influential too.
It absolutely is. It was a massive influence. I mean, guitar multi-tracking is, there are a few examples of people over the years that are pioneers in that regard. Les Paul, the guy who the guitar is named after, being one of them.
Yep.
But Jimmy Page was as big as anybody in that regard. Anybody. Over the Hills and Far Away is the
Oh
song I was trying to
yeah,
think of.
I love that song. Somebody on my list that I haven't gotten to yet did a cover of that, and I reacted to it, and that's a great song.
Absolutely, man. And on that one song, you get to hear how he's great on the acoustic and the electric in 4 minutes and 50 seconds. It's really cool.
Fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, his he basically came up with Led Zeppelin. He founded Led Zeppelin, and then it became the prototype for countless bands afterwards.
Absolutely. One of the
That's
all-time
pretty
greats in
exciting.
rock history. No doubt about it, man. No doubt about it. He one of my favorite things ever with Jimmy Page is, did you ever hear of or see a documentary called It Might Get Loud?
Yes, I just read about that a little bit.
Oh, okay. So here's what so if for the people that haven't seen it, it is a kind of a four-part documentary. Three parts are, you have Jimmy Page, you have Jack White from the White Stripes, and you have
The
The
Edge.
Edge from U2.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and the fourth part is, so you have three parts that are documentary, like mini documentary on Jimmy Page, mini documentary on Jack White, mini documentary on The Edge, and then the fourth part is they're all hanging out in like a sort of like a studio living room setup, talking and then eventually jamming. And Jimmy Page has a massive record collection, and the thing that you gotta love about this guy is he loves music. The guy's been in it his whole life. A lot of people get jaded that have been in it. Don't they? Like, I remember Neil Young famously saying at one point in an interview that he doesn't listen to music, which is insane. He finally admitted he was full of it at one point. But Jimmy Page never had any of that pretension. He's playing at one point. He's air guitaring. He's one of the greatest guitar players of all time, and a lot of guitar players think playing air guitar is ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
He's playing air guitar to his what he thinks is the greatest song of all time, and it's a great song by Link Ray called "Rumble," which is the down, down, down. That's
Yes, I know
used
that song.
soundtracks all over movies for decades and decades, and he is air guitaring to it like he's a 12-year-old kid who's discovered it for the first time when he's in his 60s, and it is one of the coolest things ever. And another really cool thing is they start jamming, they start improvising towards the end of the documentary. Now, The Edge is one of the most overrated guitar players of all time, and I will fall on that sword. I will die on that sword. He is. I'm not a U2 fan. I'm not an Edge fan.
I'm
He's
not a
great with
U2
it.
fan either.
He's great with a delay pedal, and other than that, don't think much of him. And now, Jack White, who honestly I didn't think much of before that documentary, and I'm not a big White Stripes guy. Jack White hangs in that jam, no problem. Like, he's jamming with Jimmy Page. I was like, wow, my esteem of Jack White went up a little bit watching that documentary. The Edge throws up his hands about 30 seconds into it and can't hang.
Wow.
And Jimmy wasn't playing anything that tough. I know 100 people within a mile of me that could have hung with that jam, and the Edge couldn't.
Okay, on record for saying that Jimmy Page is a huge influence on them. Eddie Van Halen, Ace Frehley, Joe Satriani, John Frusciante, Kirk Hammett, Joe Perry, Richie Sambora, Slash, David Mustaine, Mick Mars, Lifeson, Steve Vai, Dan Hawkins. Who's Dan Hawkins? I don't know that name.
I know the name. I'll find it while you're going.
A quick quote from Brian May: I don't think anyone has epitomized riff writing better than Jimmy Page. He's one of the great brains of rock music. And Stevie Nicks said, if Jimmy Page would play guitar with me, I'd put a band around us tomorrow.
Love that. Love that. Dan Hawkins, by the way, Craig, do you remember the band The Darkness.
No.
I believe in a thing called love. Just listen to the rhythm of my heart. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes, I do know that.
That's Stan Hawkins.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, I remember that a little bit, but nothing crazy. Yeah, well, regardless, he's heavily influenced by Jimmy Page.
And so many people. I'm influenced by Jimmy Page.
Right.
For sure. No doubt about it. David Gilmour and a few other people are bigger influences for me, but not far behind is Jimmy Page. I mean, I learned Over the Hills and Far Away was one of the first like hard songs I ever learned, and I can still play it to this day, and I love that song. And I love Led Zeppelin. Jimmy Page is amazing. It's tough to keep him out of my top 10. He was very borderline. There's one guy that's not going to be in anybody else's top 10 that cost him a spot. And, yeah, you could make a case for him anywhere between 10 and 1 and put him anywhere you want on a list. And I wouldn't argue too much.
Yep, absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
Who is your number five?
Oh, well, this guy is the guy I was talking about. And this guy came in at 0 on Rolling Stone and 0 on Guitar World's list. He was not ranked on either of them, although he should have been. You have reacted to him 4 times because of me, and he is one of the most influential guitar players that people don't know his name, but guitar players know his name, and that is Uli John Roth.
Oh, yes. I remember him.
This was very early on in our reactions. We did. I started you with a Blues Traveler song. That was the first thing I ever did with you, and then the next 4 things were Uli John Roth.
Well, he was with the Scorpions.
Exactly. He spent 5 albums with the Scorpions. He joined them when he was a teenager, and spent 70, I think it was like 73 to 78 with the Scorpions. Now, the Scorpions, when he was with them, were a very different band than most Americans know. He left the band because they wanted to go more commercial and they wanted to go more metal. Uli didn't want any part of either of those things. and and he went solo, started a band called Electric Sun that did 3 albums between 79 and 85. And from that point on, then he started just doing classical music. He wrote musicals. He wrote piano compositions. He wrote
He's
entire, yeah,
just a complete musician.
complete musician. You just listed a bunch of people that Jimmy Page influenced. Well, here's a list of guys that were influenced by Uli. Uh, I'll start with the 3 least known, but these are guys that guitar nerds will know. Joe Stump, Gus G, and Michael Romeo. These guys are all over the internet just tearing it up. But then people that you would know, Van Halen. And Van Halen, notorious curmudgeon, didn't give a whole lot of compliments to people. And so the fact that he gave one to Uli is a big deal. Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, Yngwie Malmsteen, Kirk Hammett from Metallica, Marty Friedman from Megadeth, Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins, who another guy who doesn't like much.
Yeah.
um, uh, so hugely influenced. Van Halen used to cover "In Trance" and "Virgin Killer," 2 songs that Uli wrote in uh, in their pre-record deal era, when they played live in the mid-70s before they got their record deal. So Van
Wow.
Halen was hugely influenced by Uli. Um, you reacted to solo Uli doing a song called Sky Overture. And if you want to hear one song that just shows you what this guy is capable of, check out Craig's reaction to that song. It covers classical licks, sweep picking, it covers rock, it covers blues, it covers everything you could possibly want from a guitar player in one song. We also did, and this is the one thing that you'll remember from the Oli reactions, because the next 3 were from an album called The Scorpions Revisited, a DVD/album, and we did stuff from the live DVD. And he had a singer on there called Nathan James, who you were flipping out about.
Right. Yes.
and justifiably so because he's something else. and but the thing about Uli is he wasn't able to do what he wanted back in the '70s because their other guitar player Rudolf Schenker, who wow, an all-time great rhythm guitar player in the heavy metal world, wasn't good enough to do what Uli wanted him to do as a second guitarist, and not many people would have been. Most people couldn't hang with Uli back then, and but he recruited two guys over the years that could hang, and he wrote three-part harmonies for the songs he couldn't do that for back in the day, and takes these songs to the whole nother level. We'll Burn the Sky, I've Got to Be Free, and Sails of Charon. Sails of Charon is what most people consider to be his seminal big time guitar solo. And it's an intro solo, which is kind of interesting. Eddie Van Halen had great intro solos too with Hot for Teacher and a couple other things. But to me, my favorite intro solo of all time is Sails of Charon.
So
Um,
he formed a band called Dawn Road first,
That's
and the
that's the
guitar.
one that was doing classical meets rock meets operatic meets Broadway. It's
Right.
wild ass stuff.
And then Michael Schenker left the Scorpions, who I remember Michael Schenker, he's very good too. Left the
Incredible.
Scorpions to join UFO, and the two remaining Scorpions members joined the rest of Dawn Road to create. And they stuck with the name of Dawn Road because it was less well known, and they wanted it to be less known. They wanted to be
No, no,
known
no.
more as a
It's
new band.
reversed. They kept the Scorpions.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. You kept the Scorpions right rather than the less known. Oh, you're right. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the
Yeah, yeah. No,
Scorpions
all
was
good, all
more
good.
well known, and that's what they went with, even though only two members of the Scorpions joined them.
That's right. And their singer Klaus Main is legendary. He's one of the two guys from the Scorpions, and the other guy was Rudolf Schenker, who's Michael Schenker's brother. And now the crazy thing about that transition is Michael Schenker, when he did their first album with the Scorpions, was 15 years old. Now think about that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now Uli, when he did the first his first album with them was I think 18 or 19. So they were. I mean, it was crazy, and they're two of the most influential guitar players, certainly European guitar players of all time, and and of any genre, of any era, of any country of all time as well. Just amazing stuff, man. And I just want to throw a couple things at people that don't know Uli because there's a lot of people out there that don't know him. Just to check out. One crazy fact is that he was married to a woman named Monica Dannerman. They started dating and got married somewhere in the late '70s, early '80s. Monica Dannerman's other claim to fame was she was Jimi Hendrix's last girlfriend.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Um, and Jimmy's two biggest influences were I'm sorry, Uli's two biggest influences were Jimi Hendrix and a guy named Jan Ackerman. Who, if anybody wants to get weirded out by some crazy jazz fusion stuff, Craig reacted to a Jan Ackerman song called "Fresh Air," which is like 24 minutes long, and you had to break it into two parts, and it's wild stuff. It's probably the weirdest thing I ever had you react to, and that is a guy that Uli that influenced Uli greatly. Um, if you want to get started with Uli, check out three things. The Tokyo Tapes Live, which was the last album he did with the Scorpions in 1978. He's on fire, the whole album. And then in 2015 and 2016, he did the Scorpions Revisited in 2015 and the Tokyo Tapes Revisited in 2016. The Tokyo Tape, I said Scorpions Revisited, I was wrong. It's the Tokyo Tapes Revisited that I had you react to those three songs from. And both albums feature Nathan James on vocals, which, listen, he's not Klaus Main. There's Scorpions truthers out there that are going to be pissed off that I mentioned anybody on vocals other than Klaus Main, and I understand. He's an all-time great, and I love him. I'm not saying he's better, but he's freaking awesome. And it's a highlight of those albums for sure. And Uli rewriting the solos with these three-part harmonies is just amazing. There are just too many solos to name. I won't do them all. And he's one of my all-time favorites. I've seen him multiple times, and I will continue to go see him. He's one of these guys that just keeps getting better and better and better and better, and he was already an all-time great by 1980.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Number
Wow.
5, Uli John Roth.
Fantastic, man. I gotta go. I want to go back into that. I think I want to dive into some of those Tokyo tapes.
Oh yeah, man. It's I mean the whole you can't find a bad song on there. So absolutely, man. It's so good. It's so good. And he's got two other guitar players that just tear it up. You know what I mean? Like we did one song called "I've Got to Be Free," and I picked that one because everybody else in the band gets to solo. The keyboard player and the two other guitar players, and they take solos that if you didn't know Uli was in the band, you'd be like, "Oh, this guy's the lead guitar player and he's killer." And then the other guy is just as good, and then Uli's even better than both of them.
Fantastic. Okay, my number four.
All right.
My number four is well known. We know him. I think he might be on your list still. I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming he is. And that is Eric Clapton.
Okay. This was one of the hardest ones for me to leave off, like
Oh,
Jimmy
we left him
Page.
off. Wow.
Yep. And it not easy to do. Not easy to do. And he was a big influence on me. And I love Eric Clapton. And he's I don't know what's happened in the public opinion of Eric Clapton over the last 10 years. Something happened. I don't know if he got into politics and pissed people off. I don't pay attention to any of that crap, so I don't give a crap what came out of his mouth. It's all guitar for me. But
Right.
uh
Exactly.
he something has happened to the public perception of Clapton over the last 10 years, and I don't get it because he is an all-time great. He would probably be my number 11 if I had to just pick one guy that I left out of the top 10.
Yeah, he was number five on the top 10 lists from Time magazine.
Woo, interesting.
It's weird.
That is.
Don't forget he was with the Yardbirds and John Mayall and the Blues Breakers,
Yep,
which I
yep.
reacted to a bunch of their songs too. And
Great stuff.
then of course Cream with Jack Bruce and Ginger Baker.
My favorite stuff he ever did.
Yep. And then of course this you had his solo career. Just another one of these guys that's very influential, been around forever,
Hmm.
played really well even into his old age, and I don't think he's playing anymore because he's got to be, how old is he now?
It's
Yeah,
got like 80.
he's 80 years old. I don't think he's playing at all anymore.
Well,
Uh,
he keeps trying to retire and keeps coming back. Now I don't know where that stands at this point, but he started trying to retire in like 2004 and couldn't do it, and I don't
oh
blame him.
yeah, his latest studio album is named Meanwhile, and it was released in 2024.
There you go. He can't retire, man, and I don't blame him. Why would a musician retire? As long as you can play, what the heck? What else are you going to do? I mean, that's what he spent his whole life doing. He's 80 years old. He's still killer.
And you know
The
what? I
the
bet you anything that album Meanwhile is probably pretty good.
I'm sure it is. I mean, he's freaking Eric Clapton. You know what I mean? Like the dude reinvented himself a billion times. I mean, he did, like you mentioned, his early stuff, the Blues Breakers, Yardbirds, and Cream, all very blues based, and then with Cream, psychedelic blues based rock. Um, then he did Bonnie and Delaney. I don't know if you ever heard Bonnie and Delaney, but it's all acoustic stuff.
Yep, yep,
Um, he then did Derek and the Dominoes, which is probably my other favorite thing he did, other than Cream. With that's where Layla came from, and Bell Bottom Blues, and a bunch of other really great stuff. Dwayne Allman played on that album, which I
yep.
mean, talk about two of the greatest guitar players of all time playing on the same album together. It's amazing that happened. Then he got jacked up on cocaine for 2 years. Didn't leave his house for 2 years. Just did blow and played guitar apparently, and and then came back and did the solo album that had cocaine and the Willie and the Hand Jive and his version of Bob Marley's "I Shot the Sheriff." Um, and then reinvented himself again in what I call the Eric Clapton shoulder pad era in the 80s when he was wearing suits with giant shoulder pads like everybody had in the 80s. And that's what he did. Like it's in the way that you use it, which was used in that Paul Newman and Tom Cruise movie about pool sharking. Um,
Yep, yep.
uh, and then when you think he couldn't do it again, then he did Clapton's Unplugged, which was maybe the biggest album he ever did. I think that probably sold more than anything he ever did.
His
When he did
Unplugged album is fantastic. It's probably my second favorite Unplugged album of all time.
what's the first?
Nirvana's.
Love it. Okay, love it. Yes.
Um, but yeah, Tears in Heaven on there, unbelievable. And then
Oh,
changed the world too. He did that later. It was like an R&B crossover and it won a Grammy.
That's right. That's right. I mean, just incredible. His career is incredible. Then when you think he's about done, he starts the Eric Clapton Crossroads Festival, which became one of the biggest music festivals to ever existed, and he exposed tons of up and coming and great guitar players that don't get the limelight. Do you know the name J.J. Cale? I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't.
I don't.
Okay, J.J. Cale wrote Willie and the Hand Jive, After Midnight. He wrote They Call Me the Breeze, which everybody thinks is a Leonard Skinner song, right?
Yep.
He's one of the most prolific songwriters ever, and he had kind of faded into obscurity. And when Clapton brought back the or did the Crossroads Festival, he brought him in and gave him his due. And it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever, most wonderful tributes I've ever seen anybody pay anybody. And he was part of that festival, and as long as he wanted to be, and it was a beautiful thing, man. And JJ Cale is one of those guys that's worth going back and checking out. He's not only a great songwriter, his versions of the song that he wrote are great. His version of They Call Me the Breeze is awesome. I mean, Skinner's is the one that I mean, I love the Skinner version. It's killer. It's probably I like it even more than the JJ Cale version because I grew up with it. But the JJ Cale version is killer. And Clapton paid homage, man. He is one of he and BB King, to me, are the two guys most responsible in the history of blues for spreading the blues gospel to the entire world.
18 Grammy Awards, a Brit Award for Outstanding Contribution to Music, awarded a CBE, which I don't even know what that is, for services to music. He won, countless awards, British Academy of Songwriters, Composers and Authors, Lifetime Achievement Award, three-time Rock and Roll Hall of Famer as a solo artist, and then separately as a member of Cream and the Yardbirds. 100 million records sold worldwide on just as a solo artist, making him one of the highest-selling musicians ever. Once you get over 100 million records, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just goes on and on and on, and he's on everybody's. I mean, if not top 10, top 15, whatever, he's all over the lists. I've seen him as high as 3, 2, 4. Like he's, he's worthy of any place you want to put him.
100%. And I'll share two things real quick. One, I looked up the CBE thing, and it stands for the Commander of the Order of the British Empire.
Oh, geez.
He has not been knighted, which seems crazy to me, but that seems as badass.
Oh, Gibson came out with a top 50 guitarist all time, and he's fourth.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, man. No, you can put Clapton anywhere. He is and talk about influential. I mean, this guy was massively influential across the board. I mean, just one of the most ever. He I'll share this real quick. So I've been playing guitar since I was 16 years old. And my first guitar teacher, he wasn't an official guitar teacher. He never took a dime from me. He didn't work in a store. He wasn't really a guitar teacher, but he was a great guitar player named Barney Duran. And Barney, after teaching me I would go over to his house once every couple weeks, and he'd teach me something. I'd learn it. I'd go back after I learned it, and then he'd teach me more. We did this for a year and a half, and he finally said, "Alan, you need to go get another guitar teacher. I've taught you what I can." And to say thank you, because he would never take a dime, and he gave me hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of guitar lessons, I took him to see Eric Clapton,
Oh, nice.
and Barney died a year later.
Oh, wow.
And I'm getting emotional thinking about it right now. But yeah,
Yep.
Barney was the man, and I'll never forget his face. And one of the funniest things I ever saw in my life was while Eric Clapton was playing "Sunshine of Your Love" on stage, there
Yep.
was a guy to our left standing in the aisle wailing away on the air guitar. Okay, loving life, air guitaring his fantasies away. Barney very seriously elbowed me in the ribs. He said, "Alan, do you see that?" I said, "Yes, Barney." He says, "You know what we do? We don't do? We're guitar players. We don't play air guitar."
Right. Right. Although for some reason Jimmy Page did.
Jimmy Page did, and Jimmy Page can do whatever he wants.
Right.
But Barney was my mentor, so I listened to Barney. And
Yeah,
yeah, no, Clapton was a special guy. That was a special moment for me being able to take my mentor to see his favorite guitar player, and um, and I loved
yeah,
him for it.
that must have been a great show.
It was awesome. And I saw Albert the Iceman Collins was the opening act, who is one of the all-time blues greats, who's famous for playing with a capo on the seventh fret, which is weird, and I won't get into the specifics of what that means because we don't have time. But look up Albert the Iceman Collins if you're not familiar, and another all-time blues great that you could justify being in our blues greats discussions for sure.
Do you ever hear of the cult of the Guitar Hero?
No.
I guess it was something that happened in the 70s. Nothing is more central to rock mythology than the cult of the lead guitarist. And no one did more to create that than Eric Clapton. He already had been a member of the Yardbirds before joining John Mayall's Blues Breakers, the clearinghouse for guitarists, in April 1965. His two stints with Mayall saw his reputation grow to the extent that a famous graffiti, I
Oh, I
think
know about
graffiti,
this graffiti. Keep going.
yeah, the graffiti captured the popular appraisal of him among rock fans. Clapton is God.
God, yes, yes. There's an image. Did you show you the picture
No, I
in
don't have
there?
a picture, unfortunately.
Okay. When I read Clapton's biography, it's in there, and yes, that is an iconic pre-internet. That's something that any guitar nerd like me knew about for sure.
Yeah,
Clapton is
crazy.
God. Yep, absolutely, man. Yep, that's awesome. Awesome. I'm so glad he made your top 10 because that was the toughest one for me not to put in.
Yep, yep. Wow, crazy.
All right, my man. Should we move on?
Yes, yes, yes. Okay,
All
so that
right.
was my number four.
I love it. Now, the reason a guy like Clapton and a guy like Jimmy Page didn't make my list is because I included guys that are of such technical proficiency that I couldn't leave them off. That includes Uli John Roth and my next guy, and that is Steve Vai.
Okay, he's on my honorable mentions.
Right on, right on. And Steve Vai is in the discussion for the most technically gifted guitar players of all time. Um, he is one of one. You could argue the dude's an alien. um, he is. I've seen him several times, and my jaw has hit the floor every time. I mean, this guy does things nobody's ever done. I'll throw a quote at you right away, which I normally don't do. I usually save them for the end, but I'm going to throw this one at you. Eddie Van Halen said about Steve Vai, and again, Eddie's short on compliments for other people, but Eddie said, "This guy is better at what I do than I am." um, Alan Holdsworth, who, if we were including jazz guitar players, would have been my number one. Okay.
Right.
Alan, and I had you react to him once, or maybe twice, and he's
Yeah, it was
something
fun.
else. Okay. Uh, Alan Holdsworth said about Vi, he is unique in ways that I don't think have been discovered yet.
Wow.
Um,
I'm just
so
reading up on him a little bit.
yeah, he's something else, man. So while you're reading, check this out. He was number, and this is where I want to talk about that Rolling Stone list for a second. He was number 127 on Rolling Stone's top 250, but number 10 in Guitar World's top 100. Um, He was number 127. Joe Perry was either one ahead or one behind Steve Vai. He's either 126 or 128. I can't remember which. Joan Jett, and I like Joan Jett in the Blackhearts, and I Joan Jett was one of my first crushes. But
Yeah.
Joan Jett was like number 72. Having Joan Jett above Joe Perry and Steve Vai is in freaking insane.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. I agree.
So, now he became Frank Zappa, member of Frank Zappa's band in 1980. He tells some stories that look him up on the internet. He'll tell them better than I do. But the brief version is he went and he had to learn every Frank Zappa song he could to be prepared for this tryout, which I don't know. I've been a lifelong guitar player. I know every guitar teacher in my area. I know some of the best. I know guitar players that are as good as people on this list that nobody's ever heard of. Okay. And that's no bullshit because there are unbelievable guitar players in every town in America. There are more good guitar players than probably any other instrument in the world, except maybe drums and or vocals. And um, and most of them can't learn 3 Frank Zappa songs,
Right.
myself included. All right. So Steve Vai has to learn 100 Frank Zappa songs just to show up for this audition. Frank Zappa has him play one of them. He gets through it. And Frank Zappa says, okay, now play it backwards.
What?
Yeah. And then he said, now play it in 7/8, which is a time signature thing, meaning take it from 1, 2, 3, 4 to now it's 7 beats in a measure with a reggae feel.
Jeez, and he did all that.
He did all that. And his reward for that was not to be in his band right away. He got to hand transcribe Frank Zappa compositions for like a year before Frank would let him play in the band.
Wow. I
Now,
see
talk about music boot camp.
his influences are Jimmy Page, Brian May, Richie Blackmore, Jeff Beck, Jimi Hendrix, and Alan Holdsworth.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Um,
He had specialized guitar techniques. He says two-handed tapping, alternate picking, legato, and hybrid picking, and sweep picking.
He did, and now a lot of people do those things now, but when he started them, a lot of them were unique. Now Van Halen started the tapping thing in rock and roll. There's
Right.
examples of other guys doing tapping before Eddie in jazz and jazz fusion, but Eddie made it the thing, and I will give him 100% credit. But Vi took it to another level. Vi took whammy bar usage to another level. Vi took a lot of picking techniques to another level. He is just unbelievable.
When he
And
started, Joe Satriani gave him his first lessons,
yep.
and they were having 10 to 15 hour a day practice schedules.
And here's how cool Steve Vai is. Joe Satriani's career is in large part due to Steve Vai because Steve Vai never forgot that. Steve Vai, I mean, Satriani was his big mentor. He was like Barney was to me, the guy I took to see Eric Clapton. And when Vai got famous, he made it known that there's a guy out there that needs to be signed. And that's one of the biggest reasons, if not the biggest reason, Satriani got signed and became one of the all-time kings of shred. He was
Yeah,
already that good, but he needed somebody to get his foot in the door, and Steve Vai was that guy.
yeah. Wow, he did Alien Guitar Secrets, which is a masterclass of an open forum that he had discussion about his experience in the music industry, explains the key principles, and takes questions from the audience.
I've been to a Steve Vai clinic. I sat in a room with Steve Vai and listened to him play guitar and talk about his philosophies and it wasn't just about guitar playing. He talked about developing positive neural pathways in your brain for half an hour. I mean, the dude is like he meditates. He like you know what I mean. Like he's a seeker, you know. And the dude is fascinating. He's a couple things too. By the way, guess who became when David Lee Roth left Van Halen? Guess who became his guitar player? You guessed it, Steve Vai. When he
Yep.
did Eat 'Em and Smile and Skyscraper, Steve Vai was the lead guitar player.
He's also a beekeeper. He's a vegetarian and a beekeeper, regularly tending to his beehives.
I didn't know he was a beekeeper.
Yeah,
Oh, I love it.
regularly tending to the beehives kept in on his Encino property.
That's awesome. I had no idea. That's great. Doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me, man. You know, the cool thing about him, well, among many, many cool things, is he made a boatload of money in that David Lee Roth era. He also famously became Whitesnake's lead guitar player for the tour after they got super big with Here I Go Again. Um, because the studio guitar player, who I believe was David Aldridge, somebody might be able to correct me on that. Couldn't do the tour for whatever reason.
Uh, are you there? You just died out. Hopefully, Al will. Oh, I still see you there.
Sorry, got a phone call. Had to tell her to stop. Had to tell my sister to stop calling.
No worries. No worries.
Um. So. Dang it. Oh yeah. So So between he didn't make a whole lot of money playing with Zappa. I mean, he made money, but not like like I can do whatever I want money. But between the David Lee Roth time and the Whitesnake tour, which he famously got paid $1 million for to do one tour, which in the late '80s, big time money.
Right.
And you know what he's done ever since? Whatever the
Solo.
hell Steve Vai wants to do.
Yeah, solo stuff.
Exactly. And by the way, I can't think about leaving the Steve Vai conversation without discussing what I think might be the greatest shredder instrumental of all time, and in conversation for the greatest instrumental song of all time, which is his song from Passion and Warfare in 1990 called "For the Love of God."
Oh yeah.
I think you might have reacted to a live version of that. I didn't write down the Steve Vai. Oh yeah, you did. You reacted to it. You did, and that's freaking awesome because that's
Yeah.
one I would have to have had you do. You did that and
It
Tender
sounded very
Surrender, which is
familiar when you
another
said
great
it.
one.
That's why I said, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, you were on it. You were on it. So yeah, you did two. You did that one and Tender Surrender, which is another great one.
Oh, I love
Um,
Tender Surrender too. That's probably actually my favorite.
it's a gorgeous song. I mentioned Stevie Spanking when we were talking about Zappa, and you can put that on both of their lists for greatest solos. It's on Zappa's "You Can't." This version with that I'm talking about is on "You Can't Do That on Stage Anymore" Volume 4 in Zappa's collection. The two of them just trade licks for 12 minutes. It's insane. And another one is Gravity Storm from the Story of Light, which is just one of my favorite ones that he's done in the last 20 years. And then the other one that I can't go without mentioning is, and it's an all timer, and a lot of people that don't even know Steve Vai for any other reason know this one, and that is the Crossroads guitar battle with Ralph Macchio. Do you know about
Yes,
this?
I do know that. I do know about
Okay.
that.
Okay. Now, the common misconception in this is that Steve Vai plays Steve Vai's parts, and then somebody else plays Ralph Macchio parts. The truth of the matter is, Steve Vai plays every part except for when Ralph Macchio is playing the slide, and when the slide parts are by Ry Cooder, who did the rest of the soundtrack and is a famous soundtrack guitar player and an awesome guitar player in his own right. But when you watch that, if you watch that ever again, anybody out there, know it's basically Steve Vai versus Steve Vai.
That's awesome.
I love it, man. So that's Steve Vai, my number four.
Okay, well, my number three has been taken. It was Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Oh yeah, and my number three has been taken. It was Eddie Van Halen.